The journey to Prodigy Week is coming to a close, and today, 2 more Prodigy passes will be handed out in the very first oval racing tournament of the Prodigy Racing League. Hello everyone, welcome back to RaceSpot TV and to Racing Prodigy's YouTube channel, where we're delighted to welcome you in towards what we expect to be chaos. The first Prodigy Racing League iRacing Chevrolet Silverado Cup at Charlotte Motor Speedway. My name is Arjuna Kankipati, as ever joined alongside by Joey Tebben. And Joey, we're only a couple of weeks away from sending 12 sim racers to the Atlanta Motorsports Park to go out and experience the thrill of real racing. Today, 2 of the final opportunities to punch tickets to Prodigy Week.
And this is going to be an interesting final test because it is the first oval racing tournament here in the Prodigy Racing League. And some people at home might think, why would there be an oval racing tournament for Prodigy Week, which will be in radical single-make sports cars at the road course at Atlanta Motorsports Park? How is that really relevant? Well, oval racing has some of the same skill set. You do have to worry about tire saving, especially in a 20-minute or 30-minute timed race that we're going to see over the next 2 days. You have to worry about many similar things as you do on a road course. And how many times have we seen very successful oval racers develop themselves into very successful road racers? Name Chase Elliott, for example. Started on the ovals, raced ovals for his entire life, quickly became one of the best in road course racing in NASCAR competitions. That's just one example of somebody who can jump on that pipeline, which is another step on that E2 real pipeline, jumping from ovals to the road courses.
And maybe more topically, number of oval sim racers have become top-level road racers as well in the sim world, so there is so much that carries over. The format, once again, time attack qualifiers open to everyone. The distinction is, for the very first time, we split the world into 2. We recognize that, unfortunately, drivers outside of the US maybe don't have the same appetite for truck racing as they do in the US. So 24 of the Eastern drivers progress directly to a 30-minute timed final. The top 72 from the Western region, which is mostly the US and that time zone, have progressed to 3 semifinals, where the top 8 from each of those races coming up later will advance to tonight's finals. That's live at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. The prizes, boy, is this stacked. And the craziest thing, Joey, is this is per region. The winner gets a Prodigy Pass, but also a SimLab X1 Pro Sim Racing cockpit and the XP1 load cell pedal. Second place might not be going to the Atlanta Motorsports Park directly from this competition. They may still have their opportunity to do so, but they also grab a direct drive wheelbase and a quick release adapter kit courtesy of Acetec, while third place gets the Grid Engineering Porsche 911 GT3 Cup direct drive, dashboard display unit. Great prizes for our competitors to be able to upgrade their sim racing rigs.
Yeah, I'm looking behind me, Arjuna, and I see my my dusty old Logitech wheel that I've had for over 3 years now. I'm thinking, maybe I should step out of the booth and I should be a last-minute entrant into this. I could really use some of that stuff.
And we know that Joey loves a little bit of oval racing as well. All of those prizes, though, are courtesy of our partners that make this possible, starting with Acetec SimSport. The Invicta Quick Release Adapter maximizes your wheel options compatible with the Acetec SimSport wheelbases and provides integrated power and data, allowing for hassle-free connectivity between the wheel and the wheelbase. We'd also like to thank SimLab and Grid. Right now you can order their exceptional products for sim racers seeking the utmost quality. SimLab's P1X Sim Racing Cockpit has become the gold standard in the industry, while Grid by SimLab has a premium line of official Porsche licensed products available for you. Grab the 911 RSR Sim Racing steering wheel or the 911 GT3 Cup dashboard display unit right now. Qualifying is underway, and maybe somewhat counterintuitively, a very important qualifying session, because Joey, you said it, timed races. We do still have cautions enabled. There's no laps to tick away. There's no green light checkered overtime attempts. No, it's run to the end of the clock.
And we have experience with timed oval races on RaceSpot TV, and sometimes we have experience with how that can go wrong. If you do get a late yellow with about 5 or 6 minutes to go, that can end the race. So you want track position. You especially want track position early on in such a short sprint on an oval. So for the likes of Dominic Lekomsky, David Sobrero, putting themselves up front, that's going to put them at the head of the field in sort of a blockade that's going to help prevent people from getting up there. And if we do get some late cautions or even kill any of the race time with cautions, they'll be able to run out front and and they'll be looking good to be in those top spots to get the Prodigy Pass and those prizes.
One thing that Joey had kind of pointed out is that a lot of the drivers in this eastern region that we're watching the finals for first have been part of our Prodigy Racing League journey on some of the other platforms and some of the other iRacing tournaments as well. It's a rather familiar grid on this eastern region. Guile Valero, one of the maybe somewhat quote-unquote new faces to racing. Prodigy, of course, the Apex Racing Team driver. A lot of people will know Guile Valero and just the speed that we do tend to see from him. He'll make his way to start what will be his first of the timed flying attempts. Currently the benchmark by Lukomsky is a 36.67 under the night lights. 1 second currently splits the 20 cars on the board. And Valero is going to run his way towards the line and see what the first time is going to be. It will be a 38.31. Let's see what lap number 2 will be.
We do have to remember, this is not the current spec of NASCAR truck. This is the old spec from about 2011. It's more power, it's harder to drive, it's a little bit worse handling than the current truck. It's a little bit more high downforce, a little bit more developmentally friendly to young drivers. It's easier to drive. This is a very big challenge, though, and for some of these inexperienced drivers, they may think, oh, we're going to go out and turn left, and they very quickly learn that it's quite a bit more difficult than that. Guile Valero across the line in the second lap. He does improve, picks up 0.02 of a second, though, and he's going to have some work to do once we go green here in a couple of minutes.
Interestingly, I think he hit the wall on both of his timed attempts,
no.
So neither of them count. That's one thing you've got to be careful of on iRacing. With these oval qualifying sessions, you can't run yourself into the wall, as the number 29 almost just did there, and that will be an improvement, 0.3 or so, and should jump up into 13th. And that's a nice, healthy improvement as the qualifying session comes to a close. Oh, the very first oval tournament for the Prodigy Racing League is now just around the corner, and we're ready to go for a 30-minute timed affair in the Eastern region to hand out a Prodigy Pass. Let's run you down through the starting grid for the very first oval race that we will ever see in the Prodigy Racing League. It's Dominik Lukomsky, the Polish driver, with a 36.67 that will lead us to the green. The Portuguese driver, David Sobrero, is alongside and only a 1/4 of a second off, while Joe Blewett, the iRacing Off-Road Championship Series driver, is alongside Michael Romanidis, former F1 esports competitor. Matthew Pluck, Tom Katsadonis, 5th and 6th positions. Katsadonis has been part of not just Prodigy Racing League tournaments, but our search selection committees as well. One final attempt to try and get to Prodigy Week. Sungian Park, Jan van der Heide, 7th and 8th positions, with Luca Becker, Denny Ikpek through the rest of your top 10, and only 2/10 splitting the front 5 rows. Gerardo Ramos, Simon Demori, 11th and 12th positions, with hopefully not unlucky 13th for Oscar Pujtas. Ryan Leach, Dominic Brada, Nina Hahn, Fred Evans, Rafael Casas through your top 18, and still going into those final times. Sam Smith, Daniel Nichols, and then John Sutwell. Sander Nyhoff, Guile Valero will be the final cars on the grid. Driver steward Arnaud Genet will not be taking to the grid, fortunately, or maybe unfortunately, depending on how you look at things. You see the spread of times, Joey, what stands out to you?
Well, Michael Romanidis being in 4th was kind of a surprise. I did check up on everybody's oval statistics because there are a lot of, road course focused drivers, but Michael Romanidis, to his credit, has 6,500 oval I rating on iRacing. That's a pretty high number, so I'd expect him to be looking forward and maybe a favorite to win this race. I look 4 spots behind him as well at Jan van der Heide, a driver who's come very close to winning a Prodigy Pass in multiple events so far. You know how much oval I rating he has? He has 1350, which essentially means 0. That's what you get when you start on iRacing before you even touch an oval. I think he's still learning on the fly.
As ever, we get a look at the wall of driver webcams now. Not all of these drivers are getting ready to go for the Eastern region. There are some of these drivers ready to go for their semi-finals as well, but you can see Michael Romanidis, top left, just below the second row, rather, on the screen. So many drivers getting ready to go. Tom Katsadonis, relatively okay for him, given some of the other times that he's been racing in this Prodigy Racing League from Australia. Of course, time zones come into play. 30 minutes on the clock, 1 Prodigy Pass to be handed out. Over under on number of cautions, I think I would put the number at probably 3.
I think that might be a good guess. I think we're going to get an early caution because, once again, there are so many inexperienced drivers in this field. But I think we're going to get the rust off. They're going to shake that off, and then I think we'll get a good run going here soon. These are fast-learning drivers. They're very experienced in other disciplines as European sim racers. I think they'll learn quickly. I'll give them that credit.
I think I will agree with you. A lot of these drivers may have experience in other forms of oval racing on other platforms as well. Von der Heyde has maybe been part of the Formula Sim Racing series. Who comes out on top? And again, just much like iRacing's Petit Le Mans yesterday, Joey, I can flip the coin for you if you'd like.
Well, Arjuna, I don't want to say this when I'm done, so I'm going to say Joel Blewett is going to win, so I don't have to say that I blew it.
Nice. You at least managed to sneak one pun in. Well, the Eastern region's ready to go. 24 of the fastest drivers in these trucks. One Prodigy pass. And the green flag in hand for Barney the Flagman to get the Prodigy Racing League iRacing Chevrolet Silverado Cup underway at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Out of turn 2 for the first time, it's Lakomsky that will lead. Blewett slides into line in second. Some of these drivers have NASCAR Road to Pro experience. Like Joey mentioned, some of them have never turned a lap competitively in iRacing oval competitions. But the end of the opening lap sees the field somewhat splintered up. It's Blewett going on the offense.
A couple drivers a little bit high off of turn 4, but other than that, my prediction of a lap 1 yellow was totally wrong. Starting to settle into a rhythm already. You see David Sobrero in the 59, that black truck, trying to run a higher line compared to Joel Blewett, trying to look for a way around. Nothing doing for him there. Sending it up high like that, he's going to wear those tires a little bit quicker, and with a 30-minute race, you're absolutely going to have to deal with tire wear at the end of this race, or even halfway through. So you have to think about that early.
We will have plenty of time to work through driver onboard cameras today. Here's Sobrero just trying to put some clean air onto the nose of the car. It's going to be one of the important things that we talk about, finding ways to make sure that you are as comfortable as possible. We'll see if we see separation as well, because 30 minutes may not sound like a lot on an oval, but it's putting a lot of load on the tires, and you're going to have to make sure that you're managing the run, especially if we do go for a long green flag stretch. These drivers will be considering the fact that the tires underneath them will start to go away already, though. 3 cars maybe at the front starting to stretch their legs.
30 minutes doesn't sound like a lot of racing, but when we think about the fact that we have 30-second lap times, that's 60 laps of a run, which is pretty long. And if you're going to test yourself to win one of those Prodigy passes, you're going to have to think about tire saving. You're going to have to think about some of the same skill set you're going to use in road course racing. And tire saving and conserving your equipment is one of the biggest things you can do. Tom Katsadonis right now in P7. I believe he's lost 1 spot since the start of the race, but he's definitely a driver who looks to be in the zone, saving, just running his own race, and we might see him burst forward with some saved tires a little bit later.
Yeah, but you can see in front of him, Sunyan Park is starting to go on the offense, try and get past Matthew Fluck, and Luca Becker's had enough of waiting behind Katsadonis. Maybe just minding the tires, as we think is going to be important, but all of these drivers will have different impressions for how this race is going to play out, for how they want to be aggressive. We should note as well, it is the Eastern region, which means drivers not in America, which is good because it's 6 a.m. on the West Coast, 9 a.m. on the East Coast. We've given some of our drivers for the Western region that will be coming up in just about an hour's time, Joey. A bit more time to sleep in and get ready for what's bound to be some hectic semi-final action.
Yeah, they're sim racers, Arjuna. You know they love their sleep. You know, 1 p.m. is an early wake-up time for most of them. But the Eastern region, it's based on Iceland. We essentially turned Iceland into the prime meridian of the world. Everybody west of Iceland, aka the United States and South America, they're going to be in the Western region. Everybody to the other side, they're going to be in the Eastern region. And it's not just Europe. We do have Sunyan Park representing South Korea, so it's good to see that. I could not tell you what time it is in South Korea right now, but I imagine it's not a very savory time to be awake right now.
No, it probably is not. One thing that you will also, I guess, see is the fact that across of the drivers, not just a spread of regions, but a spread of racing equipment as well. Look at the leader, Lakomsky, that has triple screen setups. Looks quite comfortable right now, as it is indeed a 3-car train that is pulling away from Michael Romanidis. The mid-pack continues to get more and more hectic. Katsudonis is sliding back. Is this a call on strategy? Just try and save some tires.
I thought it was originally, but right now it honestly just looks like he's getting shuffled out. One driver got to the bottom of him. I think it was Oscar Pujadas a little while ago. And since then, he's just been stuck on the top. Nina Hahn got by. Bailar Labarba got by. Domenico Labarba. Ryan Leach got by. And he's just trying to slot back in line here. You don't want to fall too far back because there's so much you can do in terms of tire saving. But if you're in 18th place, having better tires than the rest of the field isn't going to get you far enough forward to win a Prodigy Pass or any of those prizes. You gotta balance it a little bit.
We've already, of course, given away 7 of our Prodigy passes, the most recent of which came through the Prodigy Selections show. Ryan Leach got the rear end stepping out on him, was able to bring it back into line, but it's all checked up, this little pack. Nina Hahn under pressure once more. They are 5 seconds adrift of the race leader. We are 9 laps into this race, not even 5 minutes. And already, Joey, are seeing a bit of separation. If we continue like this, lap traffic is going to be a factor.
Definitely will be. It's about 7 seconds between first and 23rd right now. It's a 30-second lap. I'm no mathematician, but multiply what we've done right now by 4, and we're going to see lap traffic in probably about 12 minutes time or so. So Dominic Lekomsky, he's been able to look forward all race long, probably isn't even looking in the rearview mirror at Joel Blewett. He might have to start doing that right now, though. Joel is moving forward slowly. He's slowly just inching those thousandths of a second away, getting as close to the rear bumper of Dominic Lekomsky as possible. And if he can just get that little bit closer, maybe get him out of the groove a little bit, that could be his ticket to the lead of the race. And I'm not going to be able to analyze anything for the next couple minutes, Arjuna, because I'm distracted once again by a guitar in the background.
Yeah, Joel Blewett. Well, you say guitar, I say bass. Got to make sure that you keep the 4-string bass players separated from the 6-string guitar players, because of course 6 strings is better than 4. However, Joel Blewett has won 3 races in the iRacing Off-Road Championship Series, was a rookie heading into 2023, and took the fight to the likes of Connor Barry, to Keaton Swain, the series veterans, and if not for an unfortunate suspension, could still have been very much in contention to win the championship going into the final round. But as mentioned earlier, is also on the eNASCAR Road to Pro ladder as well. We talked about iRatings in the field. Joe Blewett, the highest of them all, 8,004 iRating. He's going up against Lekomsky with 7,007. Very experienced, the two of them. And in contrast, David Sobrero hits the wall. Yesterday, he was running in the second split of the iRacing Petit Le Mans.
A bit of a sobering hit there as he comes by here. Let's see if there's any damage on the right side. We didn't see that much. It was a flash of a second as he flew by, but I did see a little bit of a scrape on that 59. You can see it even more here. Just a little bit too high through turns 3 and 4, scrapes the safer barrier. It's not going to be too much damage for him necessarily, but that's a sign of a driver who's uncomfortable right now, whose tires are falling off, who's uncomfortable in the rhythm right now. And once you make one mistake like that, it's very hard to get out of that endless cycle, as you are almost entirely turning at Charlotte. You get a short break on the back straight, and that's about it.
And because you're putting so much load through the tires, they're always heating up, right? That's the worst part about it. And when you slide up the track, it is always a consequence of putting too much energy through the contact patches underneath you. On board with Seung-Yun Park, the Korean. If you're wondering what time it was in Korea, Joey, Google's my friend, because I have no idea. But it is apparently 10:20.
That's not that bad. Like I said, sim racers are used to late wake up times, so I'd say that actually is a pretty savory time. There's plenty of good hours in the Korean night left for Mr. Park.
He can go out and enjoy maybe a celebration after a good run here. Still has to potentially get past a couple more drivers. Sobrero loses out to Matthew Fluck now, who slides on forward to 4th. We are almost 10 minutes complete with this very first oval race in the Prodigy Racing League history, and you can see on the left side of the screen, Sobrero's lost a couple of spots. Luca Becker's gained a couple of spots right now. But the margin grows at the front. Lekomsky and Blewett are pulling away and making this a 2-man show.
And the dynamic duo up front. You mentioned Joel Blewett has an absolute ton of oval experience. Dominic Lekomsky, very much the opposite. Started sim racing in 2014, so he has about 10 years of sim racing experience. But he said he pretty much only races. He used to only race road courses. Now he does race ovals more often. Now he does have more experience, but definitely a little bit less than Joel Blewett, I think, and he's putting the fight to him.
Michael Romanidis once again with a double Romanidis, because we can see the reflection in the mirror as well. Another driver that was competing in the iRacing Petit Le Mans yesterday and was running for the VRS Coanda team in a Porsche 963. Very, very similar sort of a car to what we have right now.
Yeah, very similar car. And Michael Romanidis, how many times have we seen him in this Prodigy Racing League? He's raced on multiple simulators, in multiple cars. He's been so successful in all of them, and he's looking forward right now at Dominic Lekomsky and Joel Blewett. Also, I do have to correct myself. Dominic Lekomsky said that he does have a ton of oval experience. You know, it's early in the East Coast here. Sometimes we misread things, and Dominic Lekomsky, very experienced in oval racing. It is just going to be me for a couple of minutes here. Arjuna having some, I think that was the fire alarm we heard in his apartment. Hopefully everything's okay there. He's going to sort that out. And you're going to have the Joey Tebben radio show here in the Prodigy Racing League. Luca Becker and David Sobrero side by side ahead of this, but we've got a battle for 7th as Jan van der Heide, another driver who we've mentioned, has been here for multiple Prodigy Racing League tournaments. This is his first time on an oval in this series. Sung-In Park and Gerardo Ramos side by side. Park gets through. Right on board with Jan van der Heide. Interestingly, has the lights off. You see that as a difference in mentality with some sim racers. Some keep the lights on, some keep the lights off. It is a night race at Charlotte, though, so Jan van der Heide going for a little bit of realism as he drives away from the battle for 8th. Battle behind him's not going to give up, though. Oscar Pujadas and Sung-In Park still fighting. Simon Demori, another driver we've seen in past tournaments, joining the fray in that number 602. You're lucky Arjuna can't talk right now, because he would be very unhappy about a 3-digit number, I think. And I'm a big fan of the fact that we can run 3-digit numbers on cars in iRacing. It's not allowed in the real world. You can only go up to 2 digits in every level of NASCAR. As I say that, though, Simon Demori in the 602 gets turned into the wall and flips down the front straight. And for the first time this morning, or this evening in Europe, the caution comes out. A hellacious flip for Simon Demori. And there we go. Caution comes out in the speedway for the first time, and Joel Blewett and Dominic Lekomsky bring it down. And we have to think about strategy now. It's only a 30-minute race, and this caution has come out at a very interesting moment. It's halfway through in the race, so do we see people come in and pit for tires? Do we see people stay out on a strategy move and maybe hope for another caution to keep them at the head of the field? Every driver's got to think about that, but for now, here's what happened to Simon Demori. Just gets hit by the 12 and up into the wall. The tire kind of rides up onto the safer barrier, and that is a full flip for Simon Demori. A very strange crash, a very unfortunate crash after coming together with Sung-In Park. But the pit road, we should say, now that we're in America, will be open this time. Do we see anybody come in? Lap times were definitely falling off at the end of that run. But do the drivers determine that it's worth it to come down here? Lekomsky is going to kind of be the head of the field. He's going to be who everybody follows. Does he take a hard left onto pit road? Yes, he does. And the whole field's going to follow him to take tires. Have to imagine that everybody's going to take 4 tires here, but we could see some risk takers maybe. Could a 2-tire call be the way to go? Get yourself track position at the head of the field and try and hang on. We always say cautions breed caution, so could this be the final caution? It is potentially unlikely. If we see some of those strategy calls, Lekomsky brings the rest of the field into their pit stalls. Looks like everybody's going up on the jacks to take 2 tires. Look at Lekomsky in that orange truck at the head of your screen. He's going to get jumped by the number 59 out of the pits. That's David Sobrero with a little bit of damage. I think in an alternate strategy call, he took 2 tires. And David Sobrero is going to take over the race lead over Dominic Lekomsky, over Joel Blewett. Romanidis and Pluck make the top 5 on the race-off pit road. But an interesting strategy call for David Sobrero. Is it going to pay off for him for 16 more minutes on 2 tires?
Well, I think I'm back and able to talk without blasting everyone's ears. Oh, Sobrero is now going to potentially be blasting down the walls. Already has run himself those right sides into the wall once. 2 tires there got to say, Joey, it's a bold, bold call.
It is a bold call, and I don't necessarily think it's going to pay off. I think this is a big risk, and I think what David Sobrero is trying to do is he's essentially saying, I hope we get cautions to the end of the race. I hope repacking the field up gets everybody more aggressive, gets them to hit each other again, gets them to bring out a caution again, because you see that truck is not healthy. There is damage to the right side of that truck, and there's only 2 tires on that truck. He is going to get passed very quickly when we restart here. He's taking a risk. He's taken some hope that we run under caution for a large majority of the rest of the race.
Well, the thing is that we know cautions breed cautions, and so that's, of course, the gamble that Sobrero is probably hoping will go in his direction behind Lukomsky, Blewett, Romanidis, and Fluck, the rest of the top 5. No real changes there, but as a result of Simon Demori's incident, he's lost a bit of bodywork, and they've had to get the hammer out, and indeed will continue to hammer on that car. But crucially, this is what oval racing is about. Joey, Demori's still on the lead lap.
He is still on the lead lap. I don't know if he has any hope to get back up into the top 3. That truck looks very damaged, and it's going to be very down on power, but you've got to stick it out. You've got to stay out there, because you don't know what could happen. We could see multiple more drivers involved in accidents. He might not be able to advance into the top 3 and win any of those prizes, but every spot moved forward shows him off to the Prodigy selection committee, maybe shows them that he's a hardy driver who never gives up, and if he can drive forward with a damaged truck, anything's possible. It puts him in consideration.
Here's Matthew Fluck, who's getting ready to file in 2x2 as we wind back toward the line. And yeah, that Prodigy search selection is something as well. We talk about winning your way into Prodigy Week, winning one of these events, but the top 500 in each of the time attack qualifiers also get the opportunity to submit a video application to the Prodigy Search Committee, which consists of a sim racing influencer and a real-world driver that understands both what a sim racer needs and a real-world driver is going to need to succeed. Last week, we had Max Pappas and Random Call Sign. Linus Lundqvist and Arava were our first search selection committee. We have another show coming up on October the 12th with a Racing Hall of Famer. Join Prodigy, Racing Prodigy on social media this coming Tuesday to find out who's going to be the most recent members of the Prodigy Search Selection Committee. Joey, I must say, I'm a little bit tense right now. I'm not sure if David Sobrero's ready for the storm that's coming.
Yeah, is this a little bit of oval inexperience that puts him out of the head of the field with a strategy that probably wasn't ideal, or is this oval experience and actually he's going to surprise us and be able to hold on pretty well on 2 tires? It's a call that you normally see at the end of NASCAR races, when there's a green-white checker type finish, when you only have to complete 2 laps with your track position. He's not quite so lucky. When we go green, he's going to have to finish 25 laps with 2 tires compared to the rest of the field, and that's going to be so much more difficult.
I feel like on this start, the outside line, if it picks up its momentum, will be moving, it will be hauling, and those trapped down low with no choose rule. If you're a NASCAR fan in the real world, these drivers couldn't pick which side of the restart they're on. No, instead they are slotted in as per the rest of the formation. 2x2 once more. Half of this Eastern final done in the Prodigy Racing League iRacing Chevrolet Silverado Cup. Back underway at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and it's a much longer hold for the field. 3 wide in the midst of the pack, but it's up front where David Sobrero's 2-tire call sees the outside, and Lukomsky go back to the lead.
We don't even have to see the entirety of the corner to see the Dominic Lukomsky on those 4 tires. He's already clear of David Sobrero. He's going to be able to move down to the bottom in turn 3, and Lukomsky is clear into the lead. Sobrero now getting swallowed up by Joel Blewett. You see Michael Romanidis in the 53 up on the top. He's actually in a really good spot here, because the 51 of Matthew Pluck is getting held up by David Sobrero on the bottom. That's 1 extra spot for Romanidis. He's going to be clear in a matter of moments up into 3rd.
Oh, and you can see Luca Becker really pinches Matthew Fluck, doesn't allow the 51 the room to slide on up, and the caution flies 2nd time. Cautions breed cautions, and I think Nina Hahn, Gerardo Ramos get tangled up, as do a couple more.
And that is kind of the big one at the back of the field. I think David Sobrero is going to be wishing, why couldn't that happen 2 laps ago? I could have kept my track position, but that's a lot of damaged trucks. See Nina Hahn there in the 222, think Zootawel may have been involved as well. 3 wide at Charlotte doesn't typically work, especially when one driver is on the apron. That was the 18 of Denny Ikapek, I believe, sent it in there, and that did not work out at all. Let's see it a little bit earlier. Denny Ikapek in the 18 on the bottom sends it in, clips the apron, sends himself up the track. Nowhere Nina Hahn can go, and especially nowhere that Gerardo Ramos could go. 3 wide, couldn't see anything on the bottom. And that is total destruction. But good artsy slow-mo, Arjuna.
Oh, I thought you liked the European-style super slow-mo, and well, I think that really is the only look we really needed to take at that. The damaged trucks, I think, also tell a bit of a story. Now, how many laps of green do we get? 2, maybe? Do you come back down to pit lane?
No. Simple as that. No. We did not race for long enough to make it worth it to take tires. By the time we go green, there's only going to be about 7 or 6 minutes to go. That's a short run. If we get another caution, you might only get 1 lap to the end. It is absolutely not worth the risk to take tires. You're going to benefit maybe a couple thousandths of a second of lap time, so everybody's going to stay out here, keep those tires as warm as can be for the restart, and hope that you have short run speed to the end of the race. We talked a lot about long run speed, about tire conservation. We're kind of seeing the opposite here. We're going to have to see the drivers who are good at firing off early, who are very good at short run speed and taking chances when they can get them, because you're not going to get a lot of time to make tire saving worth it.
We've been looking at La Barba, now we look at Jan van der Heide. So again, someone that we've seen in a couple of our different tournaments now across the different platforms, still trying to find a way on into Prodigy Week. It's been interesting, Joey, to see some of the sim races that are truly aligned with Racing Prodigy on this E2Real pipeline. Some of these drivers that recognize just what a cool opportunity this is. We haven't really talked about what Prodigy Week is too much in detail. 12 sim racers head to the Atlanta Motorsports Park. They get behind the wheel of a Radical SR1. They get a little bit of training, a little bit of testing as well to kind of see where they all lie. But not just on the driving, it's on the fitness side, the mental side of things as well. We're ultimately trying to test these drivers as much as we can. Everything's going to be live streamed on the Racing Prodigy YouTube channel as well. It's going to be interesting to see how the E2Real journey goes for those drivers.
And whoever wins this event may actually have an upper hand, because we're talking about the Prodigy Week, which will take place at Atlanta Motorsports Park. If you want to build that up to potentially a career racing in the United States, oval racing is a pretty good skill set to have. There's a lot more opportunities in NASCAR, for example, in the lower series where you're doing oval racing and road course racing. If you want to start moving up on the Formula ladder in America, that's oval racing and road course racing. It's important to have a dual skill set, and it'll make you far more attractive to team owners if you do have 2 different skill sets that you can operate out of.
And again, I think you said it well, that understanding how to control a car on an oval does kind of help you quite nicely when it comes to being able to control the car on the road courses as well, understand the way the car pitches around and everything like that. Don't forget, I just mentioned it, all of the action from Prodigy Week going to be live streamed on the Racing Prodigy YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribed and following along as we inch closer and closer towards what is going to be a very, very exciting few days. October 30th is, well, days until October 30th. One of the great things that Google has done is you can just type that in and it'll tell you 22 days from now, Joey.
The day before Halloween, too. So how about that? A little bit spooky.
We need to dress our drivers up and get them to do something. It's part of the test.
I'm gonna have to think about costumes now. There's all sorts of opportunities. There's the first winner of the Prodigy Pass, Gustavo Ariel. You know what his costume's gonna be? He's got to be a mermaid.
No, I think Gustavo Ariels might actually dress up as me. He sent me a photo of him watching iRacing Petit Le Mans yesterday from over in Europe, where he's competing with Furia, Brazilian esports team, as part of ESLR1. So hope Gustavo's watching along, the very first winner of a Prodigy Pass, and getting ready to fly on over to the Atlanta Motorsports Park. We are 2x2 once more, getting ready to go. It's going to be Lukomsky and Blewett back on the front row, the two that pulled away in the first 15-minute dash. But now, Joey, with just 6 minutes left on the clock, and being realistic, maybe one more chance at a restart after this.
Yeah, the one thing that Joel Blewett really needs to prove here is he needs to prove his short run speed. And that long run we had to begin the race for about 15 minutes, he was riding behind Lukomsky the whole time. maybe saving some tire, maybe just totally equal on speed on Lekomsky. But right now, he needs to find the speed to be able to blast off on this restart, maybe steal the outside away from Lekomsky and squeeze him down to the bottom. He needs to find some way to get by, because he's not going to have very long to do it, and tire saving is not going to do anything with a 10-12 lap run that's about to come up here.
And this is a bit of a preview again for the semi-finals and the finals coming up for the Western region. These caution periods will play a part. How the drivers manage them, how they attack on the other side. 24 minutes down. It's 6 minutes left to go. Pace car off and away, maybe for the final time in this Eastern region. Fielding control of Lekomsky. Heading to the line, green flag back in the air, and Lekomsky clears Blewett on the run in towards turn number 1. It's again 3 wide inside of your top 10, but single file for the top 5 they go into turn number 1.
Very clean start. Nobody sending it 3 wide until you get to about 7th. They are 3 wide off of turn 2, but that's going to be resolved before they get to the back straight. That was a beautiful restart for Dominik Lekomsky, and that was exactly what he needed to do. Put about 3/10 between him and Joel Blewett. He can ride in line right now and hope that Blewett can't use the draft to his advantage. Blewett's closing, though, and he is definitely going to get aggressive if he gets to Lekomsky.
This is where I'm a little bit worried right now. It's not a fight at the front, but if these drivers start to trip over one another, could there be another caution period sliding up the track? Sander Nyhoff gets around the outside of Oscar Pradas, but now running down the back straightaway, momentum given to LaBrabra, to Katsadonis as well. 4.5 minutes means maybe another 10 or so laps to go, Joey.
Sander Nyhoff is doing an incredible job here. He's about to get by David Sobrero, who, remember, is still only on 2 tires for P6. That's 16 spots up for Sander Nyhoff. Imagine where he could be if he actually got the chance to qualify. I think he hit the wall or spun on both of his qualifying laps, but ever since we got to the race, he has been flying forward, and the top 5 is very possible with Matthew Pluck up ahead.
And it goes to show that 30 minutes sounds like a lot, but in an oval, you don't have time to work on forward. Nyhoff has gained 16 positions so far, but is running out of time, and more importantly, running out of laps. Has gotten now in front of Sobrero, gotten in front of the 2 tires. 6/10 the gap to close to the top 5, but up towards the front. Lekomsky, Blewett running as they were for the first 15 minutes and pulling away from those behind.
Blewett gets high off of turn 2, though. He was within 2/10, but ran a little bit too low too early, washed up the track, and lost a little bit more ground. It does feel a little bit like a road course race at the end of one of these races, because this old-style NASCAR truck is so high-powered. It's not pack racing like in the current truck series on the 1.5-mile tracks. You do have to do a little bit more of an arc through the corner. In turn 1, you're thinking about a late apex. You're thinking about arcing the car down to the bottom of the corner to get the best run onto the back straight. Joel Blewett did a much better job that time, and he is that much closer. He needs to get even closer, though, to have any chance of getting by Lekomsky.
I did see a 3 wide moment back in the mid-pack. 3 minutes to run. These drivers are just hoping that they are allowed the opportunity to see the green, rather the checkered flag with the green rather than a yellow next to it. Katsadonis and Sam Smith, that's 11th and 12th positions. Katsadonis, after being at the very top of the last Prodigy Search Selection Committee, will be hoping that he gets recognition from them once again. 2.5 minutes to go, and here comes the charge from Blewett as a car spins down to the inside. Yellow flag's not out just yet. We're still green, but that comes to a close.
I didn't think there was going to be a caution there. Ryan Leach was down in the apron, but he brought it back up on the track, whether by his own doing or whether it was just the momentum that brought him back up there. That is going to bring out the caution. That's going to be the end of the race. And that's a shame, Arjuna, because Joel Blewett was there. He'd caught Lekomsky. He peeked a nose to the inside into turn 3. And now he doesn't get the second chance.
I don't even know if Lekomsky is very much recognized that he's just won a Prodigy pass. 2 minutes before we'll see the checkered flag, but there should be no chance that we will see the green once more. This race will end under caution, and it shows why, Joey. Heading into the Western region, drivers have got to make sure they're at the front when it counts.
That's exactly why I mentioned short run speed. You need to be able to basically go qualifying mode on one of these restarts and make sure you keep track position and get as big of a gap up front as you can, because you never know when the cautions are going to come out. You honestly never know when the race is going to end, because there is the possibility of the race ending under caution. And Lekomsky did exactly the right thing. Crossing the line here. Lights are still on in the pace car, so I don't think we're going to get a one-lap shootout, but you never know with the caution rules on ovals, Arjuna. You're not really meant to have a timed race end under caution, so sometimes it freaks out a little bit and it gives us a surprise.
Yeah, I just realized, and I just panicked remembering some of the situations we've been in over the years on the oval timed races side of things in the Precision Racing League as well, who are helping to support the Prodigy Racing League with race operations. But I do feel as though we will get one more lap after this under safety car conditions, and then officially it will be Dominik Lukomski, the winner of this Eastern region in the iRacing Chevrolet Silverado Cup. And we saw some good racing here, Joey, but the field that we have queued up for the Western region, not just, of course, some of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series drivers joining us, but some of the top oval talents. I'm very much looking forward to 3 semi-finals all building that 130-minute dash at the very end.
And it's not just the winner that we have to worry about in those semifinals. It's the top 8 that'll advance to the final a little bit later tonight. So there's going to be a cut line. It's going to be a lot more to talk about in all 3 of those semifinals. But you do see now that the clock has ticked to 0. We will get the white flag here, and it'll be a little bit of a victory lap for Dominik Lukomski, or we might take the checkered flag here. You never know with a race that ends under caution.
I think we are going to officially get one more lap. Yes, indeed. So one more lap for Lukomski to sit and wait. Joe Blewett might feel a little bit hard done by. Romanidis was in the mix as well. Luca Becker, Matthew Pluck, Sander Nyhoff. These are all names, though, that Joey will have very strong cases to make with their submission to the Prodigy Search Selection Committee.
Especially Joel Blewett, because when the caution came out, he was in the process of trying to get by Dominik Lukomski. He had a nose to the inside. He was there, and he just didn't get the chance to race it to the finish. He'll be in with a solid chance, and you have to say that Jan van der Heide and Michael Romanidis, 3rd and 10th in this race, maybe didn't have the most spectacular days on the oval, but they have been very spectacular over the entirety of this Prodigy Racing League season with all the different tournaments they've participated in. They're going to be 2 of the biggest names in consideration for those final 3 spots as well.
You can see the reactions from some of the drivers who just find themselves pacing right now, waiting to get back around to see the checkered flag. Yeah, it does maybe feel like a bit of an anticlimax to some to finish under caution rather than to see the checkered flag under green, but ultimately Dominik Lukomski will not care. There's only one thing that mattered: leaving the Charlotte Motor Speedway, leaving the Prodigy Racing League Chevrolet Silverado Cup as a winner of a Prodigy Pass. And I think it's finally setting in. Dominik Lukomski wins the Eastern region of the Prodigy Racing League Chevrolet Silverado Cup and is going to the Atlanta Motorsports Park.
He's putting himself in some danger of the internet with that green background. We'll see if some of his friends or teammates maybe green screen some celebration footage behind him, some confetti, because he looks pleased, but he can turn it into a real party with that background. He's putting himself at risk.
Just a little bit at risk, I would tend to agree with you there. We'll see what we can have in terms of the fun celebrations on social media. Now the drivers will wrap themselves around. We'll hope to get a bit of a chat with them as well. Maybe not just with Lukomski, but with Blewett too. The first of 4 races coming up this morning. 3 more semifinals still yet to come. Dominik Lukomski, the first winner of a Prodigy Pass in an oval setting. He will take those skills to the Atlanta Motorsports Park in 22 days' time. And it's time to burn it down in Victory Lane.
These trucks have a lot more power than the current NASCAR trucks, so it's even more of a game trying to do donuts in this car, Arjuna. This is the real test of driver skill. You know, winning the race was one thing, but if you can do some beautiful donuts, that's worth a Prodigy Pass of its own.
I think Joey wants to have a drift tournament to hand out the next Prodigy Pass,
yes, please.
It sounds like. Let's grab a look at those race results, though. Lukomski from Poland will make the trip over the pond. Half a second clear of Blewett at the line, but ultimately finishing under caution. The margins don't tell us much. VRS Coanders, Michael Romanidis will be happy with third, and maybe would have been hoping to have closed on in the closing stages and made something happen. Luca Becker, Matthew Fluck, they finished 4th and 5th positions. Becker gained 5 spots but was overshadowed by Sander Nyhoff. 16 positions gained after starting towards the very back of the field, while Oscar Fajardas, Dominic Labarra, David Sobrero and Jan van der Heide make up the rest of the top 10. 2 tires for Sobrero, the one pit stop that we saw after hitting the wall not necessarily working out the way that he would have wanted. Katsudonis Smith in front of Gal Valero, who dings himself with a 5-second time penalty before even jumping into the race, while Denny Ikopek, Daniel Nichols, Rafael Casas, Nina Hahn, Ryan Leach, Fred Evans and Sunyin Park ran out the top 20. Still finishing, Simon Demori, but DNS for Gian Sutuel and Gerardo Ramos. Driver steward Arnaud Genet did not take to the green flag, do not worry. Instead, just marshalling over all the proceedings from up above. It's that time when we can enjoy the opportunity to go and talk to our race winner, to a driver heading towards the Atlanta Motorsports Park. Let's go catch up with, if we can, the one and only Dominic Lakomsky. Dominic, talk us through how you're feeling right now going to the Atlanta Motorsports Park in 22 days' time.
Oh yeah, it feels great. I still can't believe it, honestly. Yeah, I definitely wasn't expecting to win the whole race. I knew I was fast enough to, compete for the top 3, but to win the whole race is amazing.
Talk to us about what you felt with the caution periods as well, because you guys pulled away, you started to build that advantage up, and then suddenly, boom, caution, you're back to square one.
Yeah, no, I was kind of happy with the yellow, honestly, because my tires were starting to go away, and I think Joel would probably pass me sooner or later, so that definitely helped me a lot.
We've been kind of discussing about oval road skill sets and how that's going to benefit people going to the Atlanta Motorsports Park. With your varied background in motorsports, how confident do you feel about jumping into a Radical SR1 in 22 days' time and showing us just how fast you are?
Yeah, I'm kind of scared. I've never driven such a fast car before, so it'll be an experience for sure.
Congratulations, Dominic, the winner of a Prodigy Pass. We'll see you at the Atlanta Motorsports Park for Prodigy Week in just a few weeks' time.
Thank you. See ya.
Dominic Lakomsky, the winner of the Prodigy Racing League iRacing Chevrolet Silverado Cup. We'll catch up with Joel Blewett as well, driver on the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series ladder, but also a 3-time race winner in the Off-Road Championship Series. Joel, it's great to catch up with you once more, but I'm guessing there's a little bit of disappointment right now.
Yeah, I felt like I had some better pace throughout the race than Dom, but it was just so hard to even attempt to make a move. I think there wasn't much draft, even though there wasn't much dirty air either, so it was easy to save tyres. There just wasn't much draft to be able to get an opportunity to make a move.
I got to ask in terms of the background, eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series ladder. You work with, Jarrett Liebert and some of these drivers that are capable of building top-level setups, but you're now in a fixed setup competition. What was that like for you? And to jump back into a car with so much horsepower that maybe you haven't competed in for quite a while?
I really enjoyed it, actually. Like you just said, I've been driving the off-road trucks quite a lot, which is completely different. But I've been wanting to get back into NASCAR for a while, and this has gave me the, motivation to do it. It was a lot of fun, and going back to my roots, kind of.
Still have a chance to make it to Prodigy Week with the Prodigy Search Selection Committee. Talk to us about yourself, your background in motorsports for people that haven't watched you. Who is Joel Blewett, and why should you be at Prodigy Week?
Well, I first started sim racing back when I was, 3 years old. I played Gran Turismo, I think it was 4 or 5 on the PlayStation 2. And then I've been on iRacing since 6 years old. I started with road course racing, so the GT3s and the prototypes. And then when I made a return back in 2019, I did strictly NASCAR. I did some of the Logitech G challenges and got some good finishes there. And then when I moved into the off-road cars last year, I made it into the Pro Series, the iRacing Pro Series. And I kind of surprised myself. I was hoping for a top 12 in that series, but I was able to get 3 wins and was in contention for the championship until stuff went downhill in the last few races. But yeah, I've never drove a race car in real life either. I just passed my driving test a few months ago, but I've always been eager to get on track in real life, whether it's like rental karts or in a real car like the Radical. It would be really cool. It's been a dream.
No matter what car I see you in, Joel, you're fast. Congratulations on a great run today. Cautions didn't play out your way. We'll see how the Prodigy search selection decides, and hopefully we'll potentially see you in more Prodigy Racing League tournaments in the future.
Yeah, thank you.
Joel Blewett second on the track, and unfortunately the caution just flying at the wrong time. We have one more driver to have a chat with. It's Michael Romanidis, the Coanda Esports driver who we've seen multiple times. He's standing by with Joey Tebben.
Indeed he is. Michael Romanidis, this is, what, the 4th or 5th Prodigy Racing League tournament we've seen you in so far. 3rd place here tonight, but you've got to still feel pretty good about going home with that Porsche 911 GT3 Cup dashboard display unit, and once again being in competition for the win in one of these tournaments.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think it is the 4th one. Yeah, definitely a little bit less practice and therefore pressure going into this one. So yeah, anything I could pick up was a bonus, and in the end, the top 3 I think I'm pretty happy with. Definitely more happy than the P3 that I got in one of the previous tournaments. So yeah, it was a good race. Again, pretty stale, but yeah, I think with this format it was quite decent, and yeah, in the end, pretty happy with it. So congrats to Dominic and Joel as well. Yeah, great races from them.
And we know you were pretty busy yesterday for about 10 hours with VRS Coanda Esports and iRacing Petit Le Mans, but back here today for more racing. You've obviously been quite adept at racing every type of racing machinery. Why do you think you should be potentially selected for one of those final 3 spots by the Prodigy Search Selection Committee?
Not sure. Obviously, you know, everyone is here to win, and yeah, to get that Prodigy pass, of course. You know, everyone wants to drive that race car, but yeah, just taking it tournament by tournament. Yeah, just yesterday was a busy day, so in this weekend in particular, I wasn't able to focus on this as much as I had to win. But I think Charlotte, this particular oval, is quite nice to me traditionally. I also did an event in the Roval on the Rallycross car, so that was also pretty fun. So, yeah, Charlotte's been pretty fun lately, so I think that helped for sure. I think the oval is fairly simple to get used to, especially on the trucks. Yeah, I think only one opportunity really left for me for season 1 anyway. So yeah, gonna keep my fingers crossed, obviously, because it's not gonna be a race, so it's not gonna be on my hands. But yeah, definitely, of course, I still want to win that pass, and yeah, as with everyone here, would be a big dream.
Well, Michael, you've certainly put yourself out there. 4 events, very fast in every single one of them. And Arjuna, he's got to be one of the favorites when the search selection committee starts thinking around who's got the most diverse skill set, who's been fast in every type of machinery. Michael Romanidis can, I think, point to a podium, or at least competition for a podium, in every single tournament he's been in so far.
Well, yes and no, but he's been in many of the tournaments. So has Tom Katsadonis, but I think if you go back and look at the records, Tom Katsadonis has got to every single one of the finals that he's competed in. Michael Romanidis can't say that, unfortunately. So I think it's going to be interesting, the final Prodigy Search Selection Committee, what the criteria is, what the judges are looking for. Because again, we've had 2 different sets of judges so far, a 3rd different set coming up on October 12th. Again, every person's got their own little unique thing that they're looking for, and it'll be curious to see who our judges identify as the next recipient of a Prodigy Pass. And again, remember, it's a Racing Hall of Famer that's joining our committee, so make sure that you jump on over to Racing Prodigy's YouTube channel, subscribe, and make sure you're following on all things social media to stay connected on the journey towards Prodigy Week. We are only now 22 days away. That's the Eastern region done. Just one race, nice and simple. Now, Joey, we get over to the Western region. We've got 3 more races on the docket in the semi-final stage. 8 drivers from each of those advancing to another 30-minute time final at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. I'm looking forward to this one, again, because as mentioned, we've got a strong crop of oval talent out there and ready to impress.
Yeah, no offense to our Eastern region, but those tended to be drivers who were stronger in series and in cars that weren't oval racing cars. That wasn't oval racing machinery. These are drivers from the top levels of oval racing in the United States. You've got competitors in the NASCAR iRacing Coca-Cola series. You've got drivers from NASCAR-style league competition on iRacing. You've got all sorts And you may have heard of one guy, Arjuna, Steven Wilson, defending iRacing, Coca-Cola, eNASCAR. I said all the words in the wrong direction, but either way, he's the champion, and he's here. He wants to win one of those Prodigy passes.
Welcome to the world of the iRacing World Championships, where getting the words in the correct order is as much a challenge.
eNASCAR, Coca-Cola, iRacing series.
There we go. Now, if I said go back 5 years, could you do it correctly still?
Well, there's some peaks and some antifreezes.
Yeah, somewhere in there. Yeah, Steven Wilson's in there. I saw Matt Busa, Garrett Lowe, who was part of our initial top 3 for the Prodigy Search Selection Committee, so there are many strong names. And again, same prizes on the line, not just the Prodigy Pass, but the physical hardware from SimLab, Acetec, and Grid Engineering as well. Top 72, though, Joey, have emerged from the Time Attack qualifiers into this Western region. That is the most drivers we've ever taken from the public open Time Attack qualifier stage.
That means we've spread our net out pretty wide. There could be some diamonds in the rough. Maybe some of those drivers who aren't eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series competitors maybe have just been biding their time in official racing, maybe haven't even made it to the Road to Pro ladder just yet, and they might want to prove themselves tonight for the first time.
Yeah, that Road to Pro ladder is always something just to keep very, very close eyes on, because there's always new names that come out of there, and it's like, oh, wait, I knew they were quick. Didn't know how quick. Maybe they were. We're going to step aside here on RaceSpot TV, the iRacing Esports Network, and on the Racing Prodigy YouTube channels. Don't go anywhere. We've still got 3 semi-final races to come. In the Western region, 1 Prodigy Pass has been handed out, yes, but there's still plenty more business to deal with here on Sunday.
What should you expect at Prodigy Week? Well, as a Prodigy Pass recipient, lots of seat time. We're going to put you on a skid pad, autocross course, kart track, on a sim using SimLab, Grid, and Acetec Sim Sports equipment. But most of your seat time will be in the Radical SR1 race car on the main track at Atlanta Motorsports Park. Now, you'll have a pro coach review onboard video and data. You'll work with PitFit Training, who trains IndyCar and NASCAR drivers. You'll work with Dr. Nick Molinaro, who helps pro athletes perform under pressure. You'll be interviewed, but don't worry, you'll get media training by DKC, and we're going to live stream it all on Racing Prodigy's YouTube channel with behind-the-scenes look into how it all goes down. We're going to open it all up, share setup information, data, and more, because we're here to provide access and opportunity.
As a kid, did you ever dream of becoming a professional race car driver, but maybe it was too expensive or always seemed out of reach? Here at Racing Prodigy, it is our mission to take those dreams and make them a reality. You too can be just like Jeff Gordon, Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen, some of the greatest drivers ever, and be a part of a world where real-life racing and motorsport opportunities are available to everyone. That world is now here. Here at Racing Prodigy, we provide real-world racing opportunities to those with grit and skill who may otherwise never be discovered. Thanks to esports competition, a new insight has been found. The skill set of virtual racing transfers to real race cars and tracks. Gamers and sim racers have proven that they can race real race cars against the professionals and win. It's now time for the world's first E2 Real Sports League, taking esports competitors to real-life racing competitions. Prodigy Racing League is here to offer aspiring real-world race car drivers the opportunity to compete across multiple gaming platforms to earn titles and coveted Prodigy passes. These golden tickets of motorsports allow you access to trips that are fully paid for you to train, learn, and even compete at Prodigy Week, our real-world racing academy held at Atlanta Motorsports Park in November. It is our goal and vision to draft the first class of racers from those who compete at Prodigy Week to fill the grid for our inaugural series to debut in 2024. We can only achieve our vision together, so join us today to test your skills, earn your spot at Prodigy Week, and enjoy the thrill of racing. Racing Prodigy, where dreams become a reality.
everyone. I'm David Cook from Racing Prodigy. We've been asked why we created the Prodigy Racing League, which is the world's first E-to-Real motorsports league. Someone told me that racing doesn't need another series, but we don't agree. It needs one more, and it needs it now. Racing needs a series that's open to everyone, regardless of one's bank account or connections. A series where driving skill is the only differentiator. So why is the world's first E-to-Real motorsports league the solution to the access problem? Well, advancements in gaming and simulation software have helped prove that the skill sets from racing games translate to real race cars. Nissan demonstrated this several years ago. Mazda was next, when I proudly oversaw its shootout competitions in which sim racers competed against real-world racers for a professional contract. And when iRacing's Glenn McGee won one of the competitions, it reinforced that gaming can help solve the access challenges. Only about 1 million people race in real life, and there are more than 3 billion gamers. Some of the fans and some of the gamers who watch professional racing on screen must have more born with talent than those they're watching, but have never gotten the opportunity to race themselves. And we know that when sports, talent, and opportunity meet, this is how you discover prodigies. And this is why we partnered with several game publishers, with more on the way, and why companies are teaming up with us to provide opportunity to those deserving. Why thousands, and we anticipate millions, will enter our sim racing tournaments over time, and even more will watch our PRL, sim racing, and real-world racing competitions. Revolutionizing motorsports will require exceptional people and a courageous team. We've assembled a group with experience specifically for this E-to-Real league. Our team has previously supported Formula One, IndyCar, NASCAR, the NFL, NBA, gaming, as well as E-to-Real competitions. Our mission is to reinvent and open motorsports through gaming competitions, discover and develop talent, and provide sustainable, real-world racing careers for those who shine. It's past time that everyone has the opportunity to enjoy the thrill of racing. This is why we created the Prodigy Racing League.
One driver's already punched their way to the Atlanta Motorsports Park today, and it's time to whittle down the field to do it once more. More than 70 drivers have entered the battlegrounds of the Western region in the Prodigy Racing League iRacing Chevrolet Silverado Cup, and 3 semi-finals will set the stage for the final 30-minute dash to hand out the Prodigy Pass. Welcome back to RaceSpot TV, the iRacing Esports Network, and to Racing Prodigy's YouTube channel. Do not forget to subscribe as we get closer to Prodigy Week. Every single moment of the on-track action will be broadcast live on Racing Prodigy's YouTube channel, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Arjuna Kenkipati on hand, alongside with Joey Tebben. Joey, a very interesting race now, to set the stage for the Western region, but I think we're really looking forward to this first semi-final to see what's in store with America's best oval racers.
We already had enough action with the Eastern region earlier today, and that kind of set our mood for the upcoming semifinals here. We know that there's the possibility of cautions that take away from some green flag racing time. That's going to make things a little bit more frenetic. It's going to reward drivers who have that short run speed. Or we could be proven entirely wrong, Arjuna, now that we do step into drivers with a little bit more oval racing experience. They could surprise us, we could get some long green flag runs, and we could start to see tire saving come into the fray. We simply don't know, so it simply helps to be good at both of those things.
I think the fact that we saw everyone come in 15 minutes in says that tires are going to be a factor. The question really then becomes, well, how much of a factor? How do you want to play the race out? I think there's so many different elements that now these drivers will be thinking about that it's going to be very curious who adapts to the challenges the quickest, because boy, are there a lot of them. Drivers once again on track for what is an important qualifying session. Let's thank all of those though that make this possible, including providing the physical prizes to each of our winners. Aztec Sim Sports, and their Invicta Quick Release Adapter maximizes your wheel options compatible with the Aztec Sim Sport wheelbases, featuring integrated power and data allowing for hassle-free connectivity between the wheel and wheelbase. Bring any third-party wheel to the Aztec Sim Sport wheelbase family. We'd also like to thank Grid and SimLab and Grid Engineering. Right now you can order their exceptional products for sim racers seeking the utmost quality. SimLab's P1X Sim Racing Cockpit has become the gold standard in the industry, while Grid by SimLab has a premium line of official Porsche licensed products available, including the Porsche 911 RSR Sim Racing steering wheel and the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup dashboard display unit available to our third place finisher today. We did see one driver able to carve their way on forward through the field, but Joey, starting at the front, is a helpful thing. And currently, it's Lucas Cram and Octavio Rondoletto on the front row.
No real surprise to see both of those drivers up front. Octavio Rondoletto, a champion in the Precision Racing League NASCAR Cup Series. That was his first real foray into oval racing, I believe, and then he's since turned that into a Road to Pro run recently. Very experienced, very fast on ovals. He's definitely going to be a favorite to advance here. And you know what else helps, Arjuna? You know what the word Octavio means?
I was going to say octave, but I feel like I'm about to be wrong.
It means eighth. So
wow.
He's guaranteed to be in the top 8. It was destined by Mr. and Mrs. Rondoletto.
Like you say, that is a good point. The highlight line on the left side of the screen is really going to be below Cody Reed in 8th position. As long as you're inside of the top 8, you have a chance to get to the final. Joey, that's all we really care about.
That's all we really care about right now. Obviously, you do want to kind of put your name in there and win in your semifinal, kind of put the fear in the eyes of your opponents, but all you do need to worry about is advancing into the final, and then you can start worrying about moving your way forward in the final tonight.
Once again, we have a wonderful wall of drivers, which includes some NASCAR body panels behind some of them. Oh, I mean, too many to talk through, and they're going to keep adding to the numbers as well, apparently. Drivers are required to be in the Zoom during their race. 70-plus drivers currently sitting and waiting to go, hoping to be the winner of a Prodigy Pass. Who starts on the front row, though? It's Lucas Cram that gets ready to bring us to the green for the second time today under the night lights at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Let's run you down through the starting grid and the sea of trucks, complete with the beautiful paint schemes. Lucas Cram alongside Octavio Rondoletto, split by just 32 thousandths of a second, and not farther back to David Brown and Bryden Lindauer. Nathan Fuller, Jake Cummins share row 3 as we break up the sea of orange in the front 3 rows. 7th goes the way of Ross Banfield in the blue and white. Cody Reed will be alongside on the outside of row number 4. Jared Lovesey, Stephen Johnson, 9th and 10th positions with Jared Taylor, Jamie Stanworth rolling from row number 6. 13th for Douglas Newbigging. Antoine Brewster will roll alongside on row 7, while Gabriel Cruz, Andrew Schroeder, Matthew Churik, and then Chris Selkowski are through the top 18. Just 19 trucks getting ready to go, and remember, 8 will advance. It's Cameron Faust almost 1 second off, but we've seen the charge from the back to the front and know that qualifying lap times not always a representative feeling for what we're going to see. As ever, the drivers get stacked up behind the pace car for a full formation lap. And again, I will just note, every single driver has a unique paint scheme today, Joey. Yes, there's a lot of orange in the field, but it's a great little thing that Racing Prodigy do. Every single driver gets this livery as a reward to making it to the semi-final stage.
Yeah, obviously there's the Racing Prodigy colors get repeated, so the orange and the white and the black and the teal, but those are some pretty good colors to have, and I personally am going to have a far easier time differentiating these cars than differentiating half the field in iRacing Petit Le Mans last afternoon, because they're not all painted identically like some of the teammates.
Some teams still haven't figured out that highlights exist on cars, and you can make them slightly different while still having the team identity. We had the mix of I ratings in the last race. We have a mix of I ratings in this race as well, from as high as 7,000 to rookies who once again have maybe not done too many oval races here on iRacing before. That's the beauty of the Prodigy Racing League, Joey. Everyone wants to be a part of this E2 Real pipeline.
And everyone can get the chance, whether you are an oval rookie, whether you are a world champion oval competitor. If you're fast enough to make that top 72 and get a chance in one of these semifinals, you will get to fight with anybody else all the same. this could be the first step on the pipeline of anybody's sim racing career, and it'll get you on the map if you can make it into that top 8 and make it to the final.
Remember, just getting into the top 8, the task in the semi-final. Finishing position, relatively unimportant. Making your way into the big show, much like the NASCAR Cup Series and the championship playoff system, is the motivating factor right now. It's not 30 minutes on the clock for these semi-finals, it's 20 minutes. Short time. You've really got to get a move on. Green flag out once again, this time in the Eastern region, for the PRL iRacing Chevrolet Silverado Cup. Oh, they be hauling down the back straightaway and funneling into turn number 3, but it is Lucas Cram once again. Pole position converts to the lead. Third side by side, Brian Lindauer trying to hold off David Brown.
Trying to make the outside work early. You can build up momentum out there, but he doesn't want to get caught out to dry up on the top. If David Brown can make the bottom work and maybe keep Brian Lindauer stuck up there, he may have a chance. But in a car that kind of reminds me of the old Tony Stewart, Joey Logano number 20 in the all-orange, he's making the top work very well. He's almost clear of David Brown. Still can't do it, though.
Oh, in VR, Nathan Fuller. This is the great thing about the onboard cams, is we can kind of figure out what everyone is riding in terms of rig. And VR in this sort of a situation might actually be quite beneficial. The ability to look around and see where the rest of your competitors are. Yes, iRacing has an automated spotter system. You also have manual spotters as well if you're so lucky, but that ability to just look where you need to see can't be understated.
Yeah, that's always very useful to actually be able to look around, and he's lucky. He's got a fuller view than everybody else.
Oh, Joey.
It had to happen. If your last name is a word, it's just a rite of passage at that point.
It is.
I can't play with this word.
Jake Cummins has a very different sort of a setup going on right here. Has the monitor seemingly quite far away from the wheel itself, but you adjust that with the FOV and hopefully he's got himself dialed on in. That might just mean that he has less peripheral vision though than some of those other drivers. Inside the top 8 though, where Joey, they all realize they don't need to fight right now.
Yeah, Steven Johnson and Cody Reed, that's the blend line right there. Cody Reed, though, he's leading a second pack of sorts. Steven Johnson 3/10 ahead now, and that black and red truck of Cody Reed is holding back an absolute cloud of cars. But New Bigging and Antoine Brewster come together, and that's going to be our first yellow guaranteed.
Oh, they're riding the wall, almost into the catch fencing, and Brewster's going up and over. Yellow flag out, and now we slow things down and compress the field.
We got a little bit of a sprint, a couple of laps green, but that's going to condense everything up again. That was a very big crash, and you could kind of see that coming with an absolute cloud of cars. There's just a little bit of contact coming through the last part of the quad oval. The 27 of Brewster not really knowing that he wasn't clear there, driving into the 8 and ending up directly on top of the safer barrier, and I would not have predicted we would have 2 flips already, Arjuna, and we do.
I know, we do need a flip counter, right? It seems like a oversight on my part. Antoine Brewster doesn't look too thrilled, and that is
He's got the whole gym behind him.
He does have the whole gym behind him, but unfortunately that is a lot of damage, and I don't think there's enough time in this race to get it all fixed, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to work that out, but on the bright side, if he needs to get some of those negative emotions out, all he's got to do is lean back, and he's got the gym right there.
Lucas Cram, Octavia Rondeletto, we didn't really get to talk too much about them on the start, which I don't think they'll be too disappointed about at the end of the day. The question I would give is, if you are in the top 4, a couple of drivers are peeling off to pit lane, where is the line? When would you want to come in for tires is what I was just about to ask.
I don't know, honestly, because it is 10 minutes shorter here, because this is a semi-final, not a final. It's only 20 minutes long. If we had about a 10-minute green flag run, I think it might be worth it, but I honestly don't know if it would be worth it. The drivers you see coming into pit lane right now are drivers with damage, so Douglas Newbigging in the 7, Jamie Stanworth in the 8, who was involved in the Brewster crash. They're both coming in to get damage repair. And I think I saw Cameron Faust in as well to potentially take tires at the back of the field. Actually, no, it was just Newbigging and Stanworth. So they are going to take tires here. Newbigging might be in decent shape because he didn't get heavily damaged, but it just wasn't worth it. We didn't run long enough to make tires really worth it. You're not going to make the track position up in the time to go.
No, I think that's maybe the differentiating factor. But when we get in towards the final itself, these drivers will have a little bit more of an understanding of the tires in a race situation, which will be of benefit to them. We've already burned almost 5 minutes off of the 20-minute race clock. Here's Octavio Rondoletto in a very white background, it must be noted. Looks quite calm, which is good. That's what you want to be right now.
Yeah, maybe talking about Halloween costumes, maybe he'll pass off as a Race Spot Zone Justin Prince lookalike.
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
that could be his costume.
I could see that. I can see it.
Get Octavio, they're all going to love that costume. Bryden Lindauer. Now, this is interesting, Arjuna. We see differences in levels of sim equipment. Bryden Lindauer looks to be sitting in an office chair with some foam armrests. That's not even an IKEA chair, but he's making it work. He's up in P3. That proves, especially in oval competition, you don't really need the highest level of equipment in the world. It will make you faster, but he's in an office chair with, I think, the same wheel I have right now.
Yes. David Brown's got the triple screens, direct drive wheelbase as well. As we form up 2x2, get ready to go. Let's not forget, in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, or back when it used to be known as the Peak Antifreeze Series, there used to be drivers, Joe, I can't believe I'm saying this, it hurts to say this physically. Drivers used to run without force feedback. It shakes right now.
So you're driving a marshmallow? Is that what you're trying to do there? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, I guess the logic was,
you can be smoother, but
yes,
you don't feel the car. It's like you're driving a cloud. I don't understand it. I understand it at like Daytona, Talladega,
yes,
but I'm not of the galaxy brain level to be able to do that.
I'm just saying that last couple of years, the oval pro scene has been shaken up by drivers getting direct drive wheelbases and going, force feedback's good. So, just saying. Anyway, besides the buys, almost 6.5 minutes done. These drivers are chomping at the bit. 19 started, 18 on the lead lap, but now 3 with significant damage, all having to come down for damage repairs. It's still Cram and Rondoletto on the front row. Lindauer and Brown are swapped around on row 2 in terms of the line they're in, but outside of that, top 8 relatively unchanged as Lucas Cram gets us underway once more, but this time Rondoletto's caught napping. Bryden Lindauer up the inside and through to second spot.
Big shift, and that's going to help for Bryden Lindauer. He's already got back down to the bottom, and he's already clear of Rondoletto. He can look forward now at Lucas Cram. You see David Brown up on the top, side by side with Nathan Fuller behind Rondoletto, who's trying to recover. It's early stages in the run, Arjuna. You've got to take advantage of these positions. When you get them early on, it's going to be that much harder to pass if you can't get it done early.
You see Steven Johnson is up 3 positions. He's the only driver that's worked his way into the top 8, and he's not done just yet. The 444 is up on the high line. Peeled down low is Jake Cummins in that 96 behind Ross Banfield, the driver on the bubble line. He's in a good spot. He's not going to force the issue. Johnson around the outside through to 6th.
Ross Banfield's another driver we've seen in multiple Prodigy Racing League tournaments, testing his oval prowess here for the first time, at least in the Prodigy Racing League. Riding behind 2x2 here, opening a big old hole in the air is Cummings and Johnson. And Ross, all he can do right now is just ride in line, hope that one of them has a little bit of bobble and opens the door. Because for now, he's just locked in. There's a wall in front of him, and he can't go anywhere until somebody bobbles, like Steven Johnson just did up on the top.
It's not a bad setup that he's got there as well. The VR, dedicated 80-20 sim rig with the steering wheel positioned exactly where he needs it to be. He's got a great view as well of all the fighting that's going on. And being able to control the low line, I think, is where Banfield will want to be, because if we flip the camera around and look in the other direction, whoa, 25 of Cody Reed wants to join the fun.
Little bit of a peek from Cody Reed. Cody was actually pretty fast in practice. I believe he was near the top of the timesheets in the practice session. Couldn't quite get up there in qualifying, but he's looking forward now, and that is a sim racer room right there.
Nice.
You know, those aren't die-cast. Well, actually, yeah, there's a lot of die-cast. Those are, I think, on the bottom shelf on the left side. I think those are some of the F1 car resin models, and then he's got all sorts of stuff. Funko Pops. He's keeping that industry alive.
Oh, I love it. People have seen my background. You know I love being able to investigate what drivers have behind the scenes, and Detective Kankipati and Tebben are on the case, as it would seem, once again, not for the first time this week. Up towards the front, Bryden Lindauer, I will just note, losing track of Lucas Cram. the reason why I'm tracking some of these gaps at the front, not necessarily because it affects who moves on forward, but because it shows who's the strongest moving to the final. Cram pulls away as Rondoletto slides back up to second.
Big move by Octavio, kind of retaking where he should be. And I think he's going to be able to look up forward at Lucas Cram and maybe close down this gap if he can start pushing, but he can't start pushing yet because he's still got Bryden Lindauer behind him. He looked to the inside, looked to the outside, couldn't get anywhere. That's going to be good for Octavio now. He is clear. He can just look forward, doesn't have to worry about Bryden. And now Bryden has to worry about 3 other orange trucks behind him with Fuller and Brown all over the back of him.
Oh, and here they come, straight down the inside as well. No hanging about there. It's Fuller up the inside. Can Brown sneak through as well? The 20 of Lindauer trapped on the high line and maybe in a spot where, with 10 minutes left to go, the momentum is starting to shift. Cody Reed isn't too far off as well. Lindauer's going to get boxed out. Officially Fuller on through. Here comes the 83-2.
This is not where Lindauer wants to be. The top works at times, but when the tires are very, very old, I don't know how well the top's going to work for him. We ride on board with Jake Cummings again. The rig shaking over the bumps. That's how dicey things have been. And Bryden Lindauer is able to get clear. He is able to find a spot in the bottom, but Cummings is still there. He gets cut off. He's in the wall, and he's got to slot back in line.
Oh, fortunately though, that ended relatively calmly. That could have been a lot more painful for all. Banfield now got peeled up to the higher line. Cody Reed not going to be able to slide up underneath, but in front of Banfield. For a moment, Stephen Johnson almost shortcutted through the grass of the quad oval, realized better of it, and decided discretion is the better part of valor. There was a very big hit, by the way, to the left side of that 444. You can tell based on the black markers. Here comes Cody Reed.
And Cody Reed to the inside of Ross Banfield. This is for the transfer spot. This is for P8. He's got the nose ahead. Off the corner, can he hang on, though? He gets a little bit high, and Johnson is able to hold on. Banfield not able to hold on up on the top. If Reed can get clear, he'll be confirmed up into the top 8. He's got a nose ahead into turn 1. He's able to take more speed into the corner. He's done a better job of saving the tire, and there is Cody Reed up into the top 8. I don't know if Johnson's going to be struggling, by the way. There's so much damage on the 444 that he's not the number 444 anymore, and he's got a perfectly clean truck behind him.
Cue the Jaws music, by the way, because here comes Douglas Newbigging after the pit stop, already up into the top 10. And I tell you what, Joey, at this point in the race, after a relatively lengthy green flag run, surely this is where new tires and the damage repair are helping out the number 7. Cody Reed up to 7th.
What's going on with Douglas Newbigging's screen? It is like he's looking at the floor.
He's just got a very interestingly placed webcam, it seems.
Apparently. It's an odd angle. It looks like his screen is on the floor or something. I don't know how he's got this set up, but it doesn't really matter because look at him go to the inside of Ross Banfield for P9. Douglas Newbigging is on 7-lap fresher tires than anybody else in the field after that pit stop. He didn't really get any noticeable damage in that crash with Brewster and Stanworth. Douglas Newbigging is very likely to be in the top 8 here. We might not even be able to count him out for the win if he can keep driving forward. That
camera angle is what it's like for tall people, by the way, I feel. When you're looking down at other people, that's kind of the perspective. New tires, what a benefit they are. Newbigging just to the inside and with ease as well on Stephen Johnson should be able to work his way forward in towards the top 8 and grab a final spot from the back to the front. A 7's been able to carve his way on forward, and now 6 and a bit minutes still left to go means probably an estimated 15 or so laps still to run. Don't necessarily think he's going to be pushing all the way to the very front and being aggressive in trying to get up there, but you know who has closed? Lucas Cram sees Octavio Rondoletto in the rearview mirror.
Never count out Octavio. Been racing since he was 9 years old. He's been sim racing since he was 9 years old. And Lucas Cram in front of him has been sim racing since he was 13 years old. These are guys who have been doing this for basically their entire sentient lives. They know this. They love this. Lucas Cram loves this so much that he actually moved to Mooresville, North Carolina at 19 years old to work as a valet, to make money, to make a career in racing. Has some late model starts at one of the local tracks at Caraway Speedway. He really wants to make a career in racing work, and this could be a very important step in doing that.
We've had such a varied background as well from our drivers, right? Think back to our first Prodigy search selection show, David Dalton Jr., who's had the opportunity to do some real racing here and there, including F4 on occasion. Currently works as a driving instructor at the BMW Performance School in Thermal, California, and was live for the search selection committee from work. It was really cool. I'm sure his co-workers all celebrated with him as well. And on the other side of the mix, you've got people like Marko Pejic, even our winner from the Eastern region, drivers that have never stepped foot in cars this quick before, and in certain cases, maybe drivers that have just gotten their driver's licenses quite recently. That's always an interesting thing. The fact that some of these kids have been very fast on the road, but only a virtual road.
How many tries did it take you to get your driving
One.
license, Arjuna? One?
Yeah, but we don't need to tell that story on air. I'll get in trouble.
Took me 2, but that's still not bad. Oh, that was almost bad. Jared Taylor and Steven Johnson trying to kill each other. Ross Banfield up on the top as well. This could be 3 wide to turn 1, and we know how well that's ended before.
Yeah, the thing that as well is important is it's not for a position in the top 8 as New Biggin continues to climb upwards. These are 9th, 10th, and 11th. These are drivers losing ground to Cody Reed, and the fighting doesn't help. Banfield still up high, Jared Taylor up the inside.
These guys are basically just hoping that there's an incident up front that eliminates some of those top 8, and they can take the spots by acclamation, because right now it is just falling and falling and falling. Steven Johnson in the number donut is just desperately trying to hold on to this car. He's in virtual reality, so he does have that little bit extra view to maybe do a little bit more blocking than some other drivers could do. He knows when the runs are coming. He can't do anything about the Ross Banfield run coming up on the top. The 777 on the 444. It's like a freight train coming back by.
Look at the hand position as well for Jared Taylor. That is an oval hand position if I've ever seen it. And
no.
it down below the apron contact, and that's going to bring out the caution. Oh, surely closing stage drama, but not with enough time to see a restart. But did Steven Johnson keep it out of the wall?
Steven Johnson saved it. That is an excellent save by Steven Johnson. We'll have to catch a replay of that, but that was not a very smart move from Jared Taylor, and it was very smart driving from Steven Johnson to make sure we get a green flag finish here.
That was remarkable. I thought we were on a one-way ticket into safety car territory. Here's a look at the replay, Joey.
Jared Taylor in the gray 13 can't make it work up on the top, says, you know what, I'm going to try and make it work on the bottom. Sends it way too far to the bottom, though, clips the apron, sends himself up the track, and Steven Johnson does a phenomenal job of saving that. And then Jared Lovesey comes on the scene as well, gets into the wall himself. Very well driven by everybody involved, except for Jared Taylor. Very well saved by Steven Johnson.
Antoine Brewster, a bit of lap traffic in the very damaged number 27, but Douglas Newbinging is up in towards the top 4 now, closing on David Brown, but with what will be 5 to go this time by. I think time's running down for Newbinging to get up to the very front. Without a shadow of a doubt, what we've seen from Newbigin is very promising. The ability to work through the field, yes, with fresher tires, Joey, but it's the assertiveness, the confidence to do so, and with no drama along the way.
In previous tournaments, we've seen the zipper qualifying, where if you finished at the top of the race, you'd be in the top of the field for the final as well. I don't believe it's going to be the same here, but you are, like I said, putting the fear in the eyes of your opponents. If you're Douglas Newbigin, you've made about 15 passes since that pit stop, the 16th one right ahead of you, and David Brown, he's feeling that fear right now. He's going Ryan Newman mode. He's leaning over the wheel. He's pushing as hard as he can because he knows he might be losing the top 3 here in a matter of moments. There's 7-lap younger tires behind him, and he's got to hold them back for 3 more laps.
I was going to say, if there was ever a picture dictionary for up on the wheel, grab a picture here of David Brown. Just so much more confident, though, Newbigin able to run slightly lower lines. At this point, Newbigin not going to force the issue, though. We are now into the final 3 laps of this one. Cram and Ron DeLeto have built the margin up towards the front. Lindauer, crucially, after going hard early doors, dropping back, but might still have enough tire life to hold off Ross Banfield.
He only has 2 laps left, so as long as he's not half a second slower than Ross Banfield, he should be pretty safe. But on that previous lap, he was 3/10 slower than Ross. If the fall-off is big, we can't count out Ross Banfield for potentially getting one of those final spots. But Lindauer right now has the ultimate test of just keeping things steady, keeping things in the groove. He can be as slow as he wants, as long as Ross Banfield can't get to him, he's likely not going to be passed.
We've got, what, 2 laps to go now as well. Up towards the front, Rondoletto and Cram just continue to run as they are. Cram's going to feel very confident, you'd have to say, Joey. Controlled the tempo of this race, and even some drama behind couldn't really stop him and bring him down.
1.5 more miles to go. To keep a driver like Octavio Rondoletto behind is going to be a huge accomplishment as well for him. That's going to give him a ton of confidence. And he was the smartest driver of anybody here. Got a great restart, jumped out ahead of the field while Octavio was too busy battling with Bryden Lindauer, and he's in total control now. What
an interesting first semi-final. Remember, 8 drivers advance out of this. 20-minute semi, 30-minute final. That's what we have been talking about. Lucas Cram will have a smile on his face, is punching the air. He's going to the final later today, along with Rondoletto, Brown, Newbigging, Fuller, Cummings, Reed, and Lindauer, all able to hold on one step closer to a Prodigy pass.
Drivers of the split have to be Cram and Newbigging, both of them just phenomenal performances, phenomenal and flawless performances. They're going to go into the final as the first 2 favorites, really. Octavio as well, even though he finished second, he's going to be one of the favorites. We know his experience. We know his speed. Didn't quite go his way in this split, but you're going to see a lot of speed out of Octavio in the final later today.
I think we're going to see some excited celebrations from a couple of these drivers, even though there's still one more race left to come, but you can tell just how pumped they are to be here on this E2Real pipeline. So many drivers have been wanting their opportunity to be a part of the Prodigy Racing League, and we are delighted to have our very first oval tournament, and what fun it has been so far. Lucas Cram burns it down very briefly, half a second clear of Rondoletto, the only non-American in the top 10. And do watch out for Rondoletto moving forward. As Joey mentioned, we've seen him on RaceSpot TV before. We know just how quick he can be. David Brown, Douglas Newbigging, Nathan Fuller, Jake Cummins, Cody Reed, and Bryden Lindauer, the 8 that advance to the final later on today. They get a couple of hours to go away, relax, and hopefully put the pressure aside of what is going to be a pretty stressful 30 minutes. Ross Banfield unfortunately just misses out. Has been a frequent participant in our Prodigy Racing League tournaments. Jared Taylor as well on the wrong side of the cut line. Stephen Johnson, Jared Lovesey, Gabriel Cruz, Matthew Jerwick, Jamie Stanworth, Chris Sokowski, Cameron Faust, Antoine Brewster, and then Andrew Schroeder, all not advancing on forward as well, but made it into the semi-finals, which is an achievement in and of itself. We will hopefully get the opportunity to talk to some of the drivers. The Eastern region was very excited to come and talk to us. The Western region apparently a little less so, but we do have the race winner, Lucas Cram, standing by with Joey Tevin.
Indeed we do. Lucas Cram, total dominance out there at Charlotte, from pole position to some great restarts to the win at the end. Did you feel as in control as it looked?
Not exactly. More than anything, I was just scared of the caution coming out because, obviously this thing, it's really throttle dependent, so I was really worried about burning the right front up and catching a yellow and kind of getting caught out by strategy in a timed race like that. But otherwise, I just, once I got the pole, I felt pretty confident that, as long as I just stayed in the top 3, I could obviously transfer to the top 8 and make the final race. So that was super fun, man. Yeah, I was not expected to get on pole and to have a race like that. Octavio, once he got to second, he really ran me down, and I was kind of trying to time it right to where I didn't burn my stuff up, like I said, and make sure I hold the lead. But that was super fun.
So you've got a couple hours to wait until the final later tonight, but this is going to be your step onto the E2Real pipeline. You're a winner in the semifinal going into the final. What would that mean to you to win a little bit later tonight?
Huge. Racing's always been a dream of mine, and iRacing's been a huge part of my life. The last 6 years have been sim racing. So for a chance at an event and a program like this is super cool. So huge shout out to Racing Prodigy for putting us all in a chance like this. And man, I'm ready to go right now. I shouldn't have to wait, but I'm looking forward to tonight for sure.
Well, Lucas, we'll let you go grab some lunch, probably maybe get some more extra practice in before the main final tonight. But we'll see you then.
I appreciate you guys, everyone.
Lucas Cram, semifinal number 1 winner. We'll see him at 5 p.m. for the Western Region final. But for now, Arjuna, you've got Octavio Rondoletto as well.
Yeah, someone that we are fairly familiar with on RaceSpot TV. Octavio hunted down Lucas Cram in the closing stages, but I think ultimately it was just about staying in the top 8. What did you learn from the semi-final going into the final later on this evening? Oh, we try to get the mic active. There, he's going for it. Still looking for it. Octavio's still trying.
Okay now.
There we go, we got you.
Okay. Hello guys. The race was really excited because we tried to qualify. We had the pressure, and we learned this is really hard to pass here. The track position is really important, and with another qualifying in the final, we are looking for everything. We need to be in the front. I was struggling a lot with the dirty air, especially in the 3 and 4, and that's a key for the race, I think.
You are quite familiar with these timed races in an oval setting, which is something that maybe some of the other competitors don't have so much experience with. At the end of the race, we saw the Eastern final determined by the timing of the caution. How aggressive are you going to be at the end of the race? When do you think is the point of no return?
I was thinking about it because I'm not used to race with time limit, but I think it's the same like in the IndyCar. I was racing an IndyCar in the past, and in the end, if you're in the front, it's important to stay in the track. But we have to see what our competitors do. I will do everything. I'm trying to race in the real life, that's for sure. I will try everything.
One more question and we'll let you go. Octavio, oval racing may be something that traditionally we'd expect more from an American. Talk to us about your passion for the oval racing.
I was starting to play, I think, 2008 with the NASCAR Thunder 2004 when I was 4 years old, and that's my passion. That's my passion because I was watching NASCAR all my life since I'm a child, and I'm continuing it with iRacing. I started with iRacing in road course because in Argentina the oval is not really important, but today with a big community in NASCAR in South America, I started to race again, and since 2018 I'm racing in oval and I have more than 2,000 races.
Octavio, thank you so much for the time. Appreciate it. Congratulations on second. We'll see you later today in the final.
Thank you so much, and see you in the final. And congratulations to the winner and the other guys that qualified.
Going to be fun. 30 minutes on the clock. Always great to speak to Octavio, and as well, let's not forget Argentina having a very... It's always had a passionate motorsports community, note my choice of word, but 2023, of course, with Agustin Canapino, someone we've seen in the sim racing world as part of Williams Esports. Has been great to see him over, of course, with Juncos Hollinger Racing, a team that also has its roots and presence in the esports world. One semi-final down, and Joey, as quick as that, we're ready to go for semi-final number 2. And this is one where we've got a couple of World Championship drivers, Matt Busa, Garrett Lowe, but those aren't the only notable names that I think we'll be watching for here in this second semi-final.
There's a lot of names that those of you regulars on Race Spot TV will know from league competition, from other events, and some of the newer, younger drivers who are just hopping onto the scene. Right now, though, it's some of those newer drivers who are at the top of the qualifying sheets. Cooper Broom is on the top. Haven't heard that name very much, but he's looking to maybe sweep his way into the final. Aaron Smith, though, that's a driver we've seen in many, many a league competition in the past. He's looking quick. No surprise to see him up on the top early on.
Still waiting for, I think, representative lap times from a whole bunch of drivers. Garrett Lowe has just gone to the top, but here comes Matt Busa. And you can tell that he's an eNASCAR driver. There's plenty of Coca-Cola liveries, logos rather, around the shot. What I'm noticing here is sacrificing lap 1 in qualifying, Joey, for lap 2.
And that's a skill set that all of these eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series drivers are going to have. They know the fastest way around a track. They know the fastest way to get a single lap. Matt Busa almost gets into the wall through turns 3 and 4. I hope he didn't get a 0x for that to invalidate his lap time. He's going to come to the line, though. Did that lap count? It did, but it's only for 12th.
But again, was running up high, now instantly down low and on that white and blue line through turns 1 and 2. Seems pretty hooked up. Remember, fixed setup. eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series drivers are used to cars on the ragged edge, building qualifying setups as loose as you can get. This might be just a little bit easier. Sounded pretty flat through the final couple of corners. A 37.45 to beat, and it's a 37.85, 400ths off. It's good enough to jump to third spot.
Yeah, that first lap did put him in 12th because he was trying to build up the speed, but that second lap I don't think is going to be satisfactory for Matt Busa. He wanted to be on the front row with his fellow competitor Garrett Lowe, and that just didn't happen. You saw Matt Gagnon get a lap in, the number 14. He's in P10 right on the edge with one of his fellow Precision Racing League competitors, Nathan Deering. They're right on the precipice there. Corey Ensing, we saw him be pretty fast in the iRacing Bristol 500 a couple weeks ago. Corey Ensing, a driver for Tabula Rasa Esports. You know who runs that, Arjuna? Race Spot's own Derek Watson. Will that be a blessing or a curse? We don't know yet.
We'll have to find out. The 79 of Chase McGuire, the final time on the board, will go up to 15th spot. We have 22 drivers in this semi-final 2 compared to the 19 in semi-final 1. We have only Austin Brown failing to set a time. The 21 drivers within 0.8 or so. 20 drivers within just over 5 and a bit tenths of a second. The top 10 split by a quarter of a second. Look at the margins up at the front, Joey, inside of the top 8. I think we're going to be in for a very, very close semi-final here. And the important fact is, those drivers just outside the bubble aren't that much slower either.
No, you see between Aaron Raymond and Nathan Deering, half a tenth of a second. That's absolutely nothing. We saw a little bit of a split between 8th and 9th in the previous semifinal. It was pretty much resolved with the last couple of laps. I don't think we're going to see the same thing here, Arjuna. I think we're going to see a battle all the way to the end on that cut line, because it is very, very close, right where that green line is.
Yeah, they want to make my life as difficult as possible today, don't they?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, if you're just joining us for the first time today, it's been busy already. Eastern region in the books. Dominik Lukovsky has won a Prodigy pass, and now we get ready to hand out the second one in the Western region. Still 2 more semi-finals, including this one to come, before later today, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. It is time for the Western Region Finals here live on RaceSpot TV and on Racing Prodigy's YouTube channel. The qualifying session has once again come to a close. They're ready to go racing for 20 minutes in semi-final number 2. Let's run down through the starting grid once again. It's Garrett Lowe, someone we've seen in the Racing Prodigy tournaments before. That will try and go one better today. Aaron Smith alongside, though, will try and challenge. While Matt Busa, Camden Hibbett, and then Corey Ensing and Jacob Dunn through the front 3 rows. Watch out for Camden Hibbett, recently announced as being part of the Mazda shootout later this year. Nathan Sachs and Aaron Ramon in 7th and 8th positions, with Nathan Deering, Matt Gagnon at 9th and 10th. John David Hamilton, Cooper Broom just missed out on a top 10 starting spot and have some work to do to get into the top 8 finalist positions, with Austin Jackson, Andrew Halloran, Chase McGuire, Evan Petruni, Lynn Kilchaho, Andre Kane, all rounding out your top 18. And still with times on the board, Samuel Burnett, Ferris Krippendorf, Biscayne Lawless, and Austin Brown, the only driver with no qualifying time to speak of. Once again, it's a full complement of webcams to look at. Not all of these drivers in semi-final 2. There's still some of the drivers hanging around from the first semi-final. Some drivers hanging around waiting for semi-final 3. You can see Biscayne Lawless has just jumped into his rig in the very top right, wearing some of the next level racing gear. These are the final moments, Joey, before the green flag drops.
Different levels of tension, different levels of preparedness. But everybody is ready for one more semifinal. We already saw chaos in the previous two races, in the semifinal and in the Eastern final. We've seen flips, we've seen crashes. We're about to see more of that for 20 more minutes.
I think we both are probably aligned in saying we are expecting the top 8 to be a little bit more eventful than what we had earlier. Are we expecting more cautions though, Joey?
I mean, I hope not. I hope we get more green flag running, but you never know with how close this field is. It could be an absolutely fantastic race. It could be a little bit of a caution fest. The drivers up front are hoping it's a caution fest, I think, because it'll lock them into the top 8, but I think we'll see some comers and goers. One thing I'm not used to, by the way, Arjuna, Aaron Smith starting on the top in second. We normally see him in a bright yellow car with no sponsor decals whatsoever in all of his leagues. I don't recognize him anymore.
It's going to take some adjustment for you, but again, it's lovely that we have everyone getting the livery as a reward for getting here. It's a custom livery designed for them with their names, their numbers, and everything are thrown onto it. But the pace car's off and away. It's Garrett Lowe, who's been in control of many a field before. maybe today is one of the most important. Someone that's already seen plenty of Legends car racing here at Charlotte leads them to the green in the Prodigy Racing League iRacing Chevrolet Silverado Cup at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and this time they're 2x2 funneling onto the banking for the very first time of asking. Garrett Lowe will finally get clear, but Matt Boos up the inside of Aaron Smith. You can already tell the intensity here is much, much higher.
Nearly 3 wide into turn 3. You saw the number 70 of Aaron Smith get into the wall on the back straight, just trying to widen the corner as much as possible. But Matt Busa on the bottom of that 97, he knows he should be up there with his fellow Coke Series competitor, Garrett Lowe. He's trying to get clear of Aaron Smith, but he is putting up quite the fight. They're still side by side for second.
And side by side all the way back effectively to the edge of the top 10. Just inside of those transfer positions, not done just yet. Aaron Smith got a good run up high off the corner. That will see him get blocked off though by Garrett Lowe, who covers the line. This is quintessential speedway style racing, it feels. Lowe's going high and low, literally trying to cover off the momentum, and at the end of lap number 2, almost 3 wide at the line.
Nose to the inside. There's almost a nose to the inside for Aaron Smith. He is all over the back of Garrett Lowe. He's on the top now, trying to make the high line work on the outside of the 06. Is he going to get close to the wall off of 2? He does. Has to lift off the throttle to not get into the wall, but Aaron Smith is putting up a phenomenal fight here. He's going to be clear of Garrett Lowe into turn 3. Aaron Smith takes the lead.
Oh, and you can't really tell because he's very, very dark, but I'm pretty sure there was a smile on the face of Aaron Smith. End of lap number 3. It's a new race leader, and impressively around the outside, the move was made.
You have to remember, though, that Garrett Lowe and Matt Busa, they are no spring chickens. They are competitors at the top level of iRacing, NASCAR racing. They know how to save tires. They know the importance of the long run. They almost got the long run ended there as Nathan Deering and Corey Ensing came together on the back straight. Ensing hangs on, but he was almost Corey fencing again with Nathan Deering to his outside.
And here comes the run from Camden Hibbett, as mentioned, recently announced as being part of the Mazda Shootout later this year, has been competing in various spec Mazda competitions in SCCA style racing. Another one of the trucks, by the way, with a big old slam on the left side door panel. You can tell just how physical it's been. Nathan Saxon's going to make the challenge on Camden Hibbett, who loses some momentum and drops back in line.
You see the cut line here between Aaron Ramon and Jacob Dunn. They're in the middle of this cloud of cars. Everybody is in contention here, and if things do start to get a little bit spicier, as they almost did there, Jacob Dunn getting a ton of looseness off the corner. He's able to save it, but everybody behind, it's a whole bunch of checkups, and I can smell a storm brewing, Arjuna.
They 100% were 3 wide for a second, by the way, without a shadow of a doubt. This is scary stuff. Almost bobbling in through the corner. 2 by almost 5. They go in through turns 3 and 4. Loose car down low, just about holding on to it. And impressively, all of this without losing track of those in front. Remember, the first semi-final and even the Eastern final, we did see some separation. Not so here today.
And that is the battle for the cut line. The black 33 of Jacob Dunn, the teal 36 of John David Hamilton, Andrew Halloran coming onto the scene as well. That is 8th, 9th, and 10th. And you see some damage on the 34 or up ahead as well, or the 94 rather of Nathan Deering. He's going to be in this battle as well. Jacob Dunn, he's focused, he's undamaged. He might be even safer if he can get by Nathan Deering here.
And I clearly am showing my lack of college sports knowledge, but what Alabama team? What Alabama
Crimson
team?
Tide.
Okay, Crimson Tide. That's what it is. I've just exposed myself, haven't I?
I think so. I think so. But I like the water behind him. It's good to stay hydrated, Jacob Dunn. That's why he's in the top 8 right now.
Aaron Ramon's also hard at work as well on that wheel, almost sawing at it at times. And the 33 in front of Dunn gets a little bit loose. Deering's on that high line, still with nowhere to go. These drivers, remarkably, still 5 minutes or so into this race, are only 1.5 seconds off of the lead.
You know there's no manufacturer affiliation for Aaron Ramon, though. He's got the Ford Camaro behind him, but Nathan Deering's into the wall. That was a huge hit. Austin Jackson, innocent bystander, gets into him as well. If Jackson stops the track, yep, that does bring out the first yellow of the day. It finally comes, and there's only one driver who comes off the worst, Austin Jackson.
And you can see him spinning it around, but the only real damage to that car, well, I was going to say only real damage was to the back, and then I saw the front.
The only real damage is to the back, but also to the front and to the sides. And
to every bit, basically every panel in that car you could ask for.
That car is perfectly okay, except for all the damage. And also, it's a truck.
Yeah, well, let's get into that debate later, shall we? That was something during the Off-Road Championship Series we had a lot of. So, was that a car in front that really checked up hard?
Nathan Deering got into the wall hard off of turn 2, and there was nothing Austin Jackson could do. I think we'll see it again here. Nathan Deering in the orange. It is the number 94. It looks like the number donut right now because he got hit pretty hard on the left side. But you see Deering, a little bit of contact with Jacob Dunn, actually, and slams the wall. Austin Jackson right behind him. Can't check up in time. And there was another truck as well who got into Austin Jackson. Didn't see who that was, but there could be a third truck involved with heavy damage.
See if we can grab one more look at it as pit stops, by the way, are underway. Aaron Smith, the only driver that has chosen to stay out there, and from the very front, that's a bold call. One more look at it, and you'll see it's a white truck. Oh, but to be fair, there's about 3 that all piled into a straight line, so I don't think we can isolate just one as being the result or the cause of drama there. But here you go, pit stops as expected, busy time, and well, you're not going to see Aaron Smith and Samuel Burnett from there, but here they are, the only 2 to stay out.
You can't really blame him. It's an interesting strategy choice for Aaron Smith, especially because he seemed to be flying off the hook. He was very fast in the short run. He was probably wearing his stuff a little bit more than others. Samuel Burnett, his move makes a little bit more sense. He was at the back of the field, started 19th. He might as well take the track position and hope we get a little bit of a caution fest to end the day. See Garrett Lowe here. He's got the setup. He's obviously got all the trophies behind him. He's got the Coca-Cola merchandise because he's a company man. I hope those Coke Zero bottles haven't been sitting there for too long.
Oh,
they
no,
might be pretty flat.
They probably have been. The Coke drivers all got custom Coke bottles with their names on it.
Although it's probably filled with brown water.
Maybe, but also to be fair, a custom Coke bottle with Garrett is a lot less impressive than a custom Coke bottle with Arjuna on it. So,
I know you're unhappy because you see the Spec Miata body panel behind. I think that's a 6L. I think it's alphanumeric.
I don't think it's a Spec Miata body panel. That might be one of his Legends cars because Garrett's had some success in the Legends car realm. Won a road course championship in the Legends cars nationally as well. Not just eNASCAR. We've seen him in iRacing Rallycross World Championships too. Definitely a multifaceted driver, and that's the thing with some of these top-level drivers. They all have the ability to do it all. I think the same can be said for Matt Busa, who is also, of course, a eNASCAR driver who we ride on board with now, and we can finally get to the webcam once again. Chicago's own has been doing some real motorsport stuff of his own as well. Not I say motorsports, I mean time attacks and things more of anything, but branching out there.
In the Coca-Cola play seat, and also you are right. I read the Enex logo on Garrett Lowe's body panel there. The Enex Legends cars. It looked very suspiciously like a Miata body panel though. So I got tricked though, but no tricking with Matt Busa. He's got just a ton of racing merchandise behind him. I don't think there's anybody in this field right now that doesn't have. Oh well, as I say that, there's the totally uninhibited background of Camden Hibbett. It's just gray. It's gray on gray.
This is a professional race car driver, though. The one that wants to make sure that it's clean. He's, 14 years old?
Business.
14, 15 years old from Ohio, and as mentioned, Mazda Shootout has been racing some spec MX-5s. Going to be really curious to see how he gets on. Still is inside the cut line right now. Front row have elected to make the gamble. No tires. The rest of the field has come down to pit lane, and not for 2, for all 4 tires. It's Aaron Smith, it's Samuel Burnett that have a storm brewing behind them as the green gets ready to drop here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Already, I'm guessing Garrett Lowe has been able to climb his way on forward because the car's in the grass. DeAndre Kane's had some drama, and the yellow flies immediately.
It's already gone horrifically wrong before we even took the green flag. Not entirely sure what happened back there, but that is going to help the likes of Samuel Burnett very much, who's still in the top 8. But here's what happened. You see Burnett in the outside in the 29. Remember, he took no tires. Did he check up the top line? No, he did check up the top line, but he wasn't the reason for the collision. The collision happens all the way at the back. The final couple of cars just piling into each other.
That's Nathan Deering, by the way, down low. So something happens to him separately. Here's DeAndre Kane, who tries to go up high and then gets ran out of room.
Yeah, I don't think that door was really opening. I think that was the 18 of Ferris Krippendorf. And yeah, that door was not open. It's not ideal to try and run 3 wide that early on, especially if you're at the back of the field. Unfortunately, that's going to put us under caution once again. So, as I said, though, that's good news for Aaron Smith.
We might have to go back and take one more look at that start, because Samuel Burnett, I did get a bit confused by the way my timing screen was changing on that restart. The amount of momentum lost there, did that really cause part of the concertina?
I think it did in the middle of the field. I don't know if it did at the back of the field.
Okay.
Because he managed to end up in the middle. I think Matt Busa was able to clear him on the top. So I think they did build the momentum up, but it was just a checkup at the back.
Right, well, regardless of the cause, we are still stationary for the time being, or slowed down for the time being, and now riding behind the pace car once again. This burns even more time off the clock. It helps Aaron Smith even further, because again, did not come down pit lane, and we did see towards the end of semi-final 1 in this region that 20 minutes can put a number on the tires.
We saw Aaron Smith zoom a little bit earlier. We saw his perspective. That's not a conducive representation of what he's racing with, because he hasn't figured out the exposure. He hasn't figured out his color settings, so it kind of just looks like he's in the void. But he posted a photo on his Twitter. He's got the cat right next to him, which is dangerous in and of itself. You don't want the... Well, actually, he can have the catwalk in front of his screen because he's in VR. He's smarter than me.
Well, the thing with the exposure is he doesn't really care about the fact that there is a light shining in on the monitor that's directly in front of him because he is in VR. But by the same token, he hasn't recognized that it does impact our ability to see what's going on. Is he
Kick
happy?
him out of the race.
Is he
Kick
happy?
him out.
Is he sad? Is he angry? Is he hungry? I mean, I don't know.
Yes,
Maybe he needs a burger.
It's 10:55 a.m. here on the East Coast. It's starting to get to burger time. We've still got one more semifinal, Arjuna, so we've still got to wait. But Aaron Smith can have lunch in 8 minutes' time. But he only gets lunch if he wins. If he doesn't win, no lunch for you.
You get lunch today?
I hope.
I
can only hope.
I don't, but that's my fault, to be fair. I didn't get lunch yesterday, also my fault. Corey Ensing, another driver in virtual reality. I am quite impressed at the number of drivers in that headset.
Futures made of virtual reality.
Oh, I thought you were going to say insanity, because I would have... It fits.
I don't want to get sued by Mr. JK.
Mr. JK is a car fan. I don't think he'd have a complaint.
Imagine him in one of these events.
You know what?
Get him to sign up.
Seriously. And write us a song.
Actually, I think he's raced in real life, though, so I think he may be disqualified. He may have a little bit too much money for that.
What level of racing are we talking about, though?
Good question.
Nathan Saxon, if you're curious, 2022 Spec MX-5 North champion. It's another one of the Mazda ladder, which of course we do have some ties to here at Racing Prodigy. So I'm curious to see how he gets on. He's got his hand going down to the shifter, and it's in H-pattern mode.
Yeah, it's a slightly suspicious location, but yeah, that's another level of skill for Nathan Saxon. That's another level of the diversity of equipment, the diversity of competitors. There's probably some people in this race competing with formula rims, with paddle shifters. Nathan Saxon, though, he's going old style.
Just don't money shift. That's when you go from third into second rather than fourth. I don't speak from personal experience. I've never done it at the Daytona 500, coming to the green flag at the very start of the race. It would be even more painful to do it, though, with a Prodigy pass on the line. 6 minutes on the clock and ready to go once more. Aaron Smith still with no tires being changed. It's Garrett Lowe on the outside that will try and get the start, but it's a good launch. Smith in the 70 leapfrogs them all into turn number 1, and now Garrett Lowe tries to slide into line. Corey Ensing, Matt Musa, and Nathan Saxon all trying to slot back in as well.
There's another horrible restart from Samuel Burnett, unfortunately. His call to end up in the top 8 has been inhibited by the fact that he couldn't really restart on those old tires, and he's down for the count now as they try and swallow him up on the back straight. 3 wide into turn 3. Matt Gagnon in the 14, the 9 of Andrew Halloran, Lynn Kinchelow. Haven't talked much about the number 181 yet. On the scene and still trying to swallow up Samuel Burnett.
Still hasn't, though, really dropped off the real top 8 battle, but is now causing some checkups. It's just one spot in the final on the line for all of these drivers. Still a lot of bobbles for Burnett as he now drops back even further in the queue. It's Deering, Hamilton, Ramon now all squabbling for 8th position as a big lunge to the inside from Cooper Broom.
Cooper Broom, remember, he was on top of the sheets in qualifying pretty early, fell down, but he was certainly up there. There's a change for the lead. Remember, Aaron Smith does not have fresh tires. Garrett Lowe does. Garrett Lowe goes low and says, thank you very much. I'll take this lead back pretty easily.
And so now we have to look at 2 packs. The lead pack, which will fight because Aaron Smith is in the mix as well, and then the pack for 8th, where they're going to fare on out. Ramon, Broom, and Hamilton seem to have broken away. 3 cars for 1 spot. 5 minutes to settle it all.
And none of those guys came in to take tires. They are all on the same level of tire age as anybody else. Hamilton, Broom, racing side by side while Ramon's totally clear. He's able to run his own line. He's able to block off both lines, almost super speedway style, and that's going to be very helpful for him if he wants to hold back 9th and 10th to be able to hold on to that final spot. We see John David Hamilton here. He's got Best Dad on his shirt there, and that might finally be the thing that gets him to the inside.
Oh, and almost slides up the track as he tries to peel off Aaron Ramon from down low.
No.
Hamilton will get spun around. Cooper Broom's the one that brings out the caution. With 4 minutes to go, we might get time for a 1-lap dash to settle the top 8.
It's going to be very, very close. I think you need about 5 minutes to get a restart, but it can happen. Like I say, you can never really predict with time races ending under caution. What we do know is that poor old John David Hamilton there was getting very aggressive through turns 3 and 4, and then it was a little bit of contact with the truck behind. Hamilton gets high, to the bottom goes the number 9, and just turns him around. He did a good job of saving it. He was still pointed straight by the time the caution came out, but obviously, it was the truck backwards in the fastest part of the track. You do kind of have to throw a caution there.
You could see the bobble down low as well. It was a bit aggressive with the slide, and then a lot of air between the two of them. The donut on the left side as well, and a donut on track to loop it into the grass, and keep his chances still technically alive. 5 minutes, I think you're right, is the ideal amount of time to guarantee a restart. We crossed the line with under 3 minutes to go. Caution laps take us, what, about 70-odd seconds or so?
If we get 1 to go the next time by, we will get a restart. If not, we're out of luck. So we've got to really hope that the lights go out in the pace car when it crosses the line next time.
Well, how long does the caution laps take?
It takes a little over a minute.
So there is still so if we don't see the 1 to go, oh no, I see what you mean. We do need to see the 1 to go next time by. Yes,
the important thing is that you cross the line to take the white flag, or to take 2 laps to go.
Yes, exactly.
With less than 31 seconds, because iRacing bases it on the length of a green flag lap. So if you cross the line with, say, 32 seconds to go, even if you're under caution, you will most likely get a 1-lap shootout. But it's complicated. It's such a hard system to follow.
And so I'm not going to try and spend too much time thinking about it. The drivers are formed up 2 by 2 slightly, but I think this is more in hope than anything else, if I can be quite honest.
They're trying to manifest it.
Yes, Cooper Broom is, well, for a second has dropped from the timing screens and now has blinked back into existence. Remember, he's in 9th spot. If we get a 1-lap shootout, he's in a prime position to slide up the inside and try and steal that away from Aaron Ramon. And Aaron Smith is still, again, with no tires being changed in this race, sitting in a transfer spot. Something that those watching on from semi-final 3, Joey, might be keeping in mind.
Everybody at home, I want you to start cheering with me. Turn off the lights. Turn off the lights. Are the lights out in the pace car?
Yay!
They are. We're going to get a restart. Yay.
Well, I don't think Aaron Smith's too happy about this.
I mean, I think he'll be okay, because he was able to hold on pretty well on that previous run. I think he's a solid enough driver that those tires haven't really aged that much compared to everybody around him, and he does only have to hold on for 4 more spots with Ensing, Hibbett, Ramon, and Dunn behind him. I think he'll be safe, but he's got to be careful not to get taken out in this restart.
Oh, I've got shivers. I'm so excited. I hope you are too, because 8 drivers advanced to the final later today. And at one point, it looked like 10 drivers were fighting for 1 final spot. Now, suddenly, it's wide open once more, and a big wreck up towards the front. Could see the C's part and someone slide on forward, sliding down low. That's a car just trying to make sure everything's okay before we go racing. Joey, what's the chance? What are the chances that all of the trucks come around to see the checkered without any drama?
I think the top 5, top 6, they're all smart enough that they're not going to cause any of the drama, but we could very well see something on the cut line between 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. They could come together. We could see a surprise in those final couple of spots.
Here we go. Pace car off and away, and it will be for the very final time. Ignore what it says in the top left. It is a one-lap shootout. Here we go. Garrett Lowe and Matt Boozer get us underway. 8 spots in the final for the Eastern region of the iRacing Chevrolet Silverado Cup in the Prodigy Racing League. Drama behind. The 29 gets spun. It's Burnett that goes around, but it won't trigger the caution. We're racing to the checkered.
We are lucky because we did take the white flag. That was a hellacious crash through the trial, but we still get to race into turn 3. Garrett Lowe's in control. Busa, Saxon, Hibbett, and Smith are in control. It all comes down to Aaron Ramon. If he can keep it on track, he's got that final spot.
And he's got 7/10, so it's a healthy margin at the end. We were hoping for drama, but Garrett Lowe's face says it all. Not even a worry in the world as he comes out on top in semi-final number 2. There were some photo finishes, but not for 8th spot. A one-lap shootout doesn't see too many dramas at the front. It's at the back where things got spicy.
And I think if we saw a little bit cleaner of a restart, if we didn't have those crashes in the middle of the field, it would have been a little bit closer. We would have seen the likes of Matt Gagnon, Lynn Kinchelow fighting for those final spots, but that's just the way it is. That's the way things go. And there were a lot of drivers who did not get lucky at the end there. I think, it's impossible to tell who's who because they've all got donuts on the side of their shooter, but that's basically everybody in the last 10 trucks.
Quick look at it. They're almost 4 wide coming out of the left of the quad oval. Never really going to end well if we can be completely fair. But ultimately, it was all for naught anyway. Here's a look at the race results. We'll get ready to talk to the drivers once more again. That's going to be a very exciting time. But Garrett Lowe and Matt Boozer, the eNASCAR pair, 1 and 2, and maybe as expected. Camden Hibbett, Nathan Saxon, the pair effectively representing and flying the flag for Mazda Motorsports, will finish in 3rd and 4th positions, while Corey Ensing, Aaron Smith, the no-tire gamble works as he grabs 6th spot. Jacob Dunn, Aaron Ramon, the final 2 that we'll see in the final later on today. Unfortunately, we say goodbye to the likes of Lynn Kitchelow, to Matt Gagnon as well, who had a valiant climb up through the field to be able to claw his way back up after some early stage drama. Chase McGuire, Biscayne Lawless, Andrew Halloran, John David Hamilton, Evan Petruni, Austin Brown, DeAndre Kane, Austin Jackson, Cooper Broom, and Samuel Burnett. Everyone officially scored on the leading lap as well, which is great to see. Ferris Krippendorf and Nathan Deering round out the 22 that took to the grid for semi-final number 2. Fastest lap went the way of Jacob Dunn. Let's see if we can catch up with a couple of the drivers as we get ready to go for what is bound to be a pretty exciting 3rd and final semi-final. But at least for now, let's catch up with Garrett Lowe. Garrett, talk us through that race and the surprise maybe during the one and only the only pit stop cycle to see a couple of drivers stay out and not take tires.
Yeah, I was a little surprised too, just to have to work around that. But yeah, we made the right call there, obviously, to take tires and kind of expecting cautions there towards the end. I was really surprised we even got a 1-lap shootout. I was looking at the time, and I don't know if we're gonna get one in or not. And we got 2 degrees. Like, all right, I guess we're getting one in. And so we had the 1-lap shootout there at the end and was able to hold them off.
I'm glad you were as confused as we were. We weren't sure as well. Got very excited when we saw the lights go off. I think maybe a different reaction for you. Of course, we've seen you in the Prodigy Racing League earlier this year already. Saw you on the Prodigy Search Selection Committee as well. Talk to some of the viewers about what it would mean for you to get this opportunity to continue on the Eterio pipeline, especially with your background in some of the Legends cars.
Yeah, this opportunity is huge, especially for anyone who has limited or just a little bit of real-life experience, but they know how to race on the sim, and they're really respectful to everyone. So that's something that you have to look to as a great opportunity. Anytime you can hop into a real-life car and get some real-life racing action and learn from the sim and take those two and mesh them together and continue to learn to be a better driver.
We've asked a couple of the other drivers this. We'll ask this to you as well. What have you learned from the semi-final going into the final later today?
It's a little bit more packed up racing as far as I thought it was going to be. I thought we were going to be a little bit more spread out through the runs. That wasn't really happening, so it's something to look forward to for the finals, and I definitely have that in the notebook going forward.
Sounds exciting for us. Congratulations, Garrett, on a great run. We'll see you later today in that 30-minute final.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Garrett Lowe victorious in semi-final number 2, and we'll jump from one eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series driver to another, and Chicago's own Matt Busa, who's standing by with Joey Tebben.
Indeed, he is. Matt Busa. Obviously, you and Garrett were going to be two of the favorites to move on to the final. We might as well have penciled you in already, but now you are officially going to the final. How do you prepare over the next couple hours to come out on top in that final?
Yeah, I think just do a lot of what we've been doing, not only just for this race, but throughout my years of experience in both eNASCAR and other iRacing series. Just do a couple 30-lap runs, make sure the tire wear is all good, maybe try some different steering ratios, stuff like that. Since it's fixed setup, that's really all you can change, and see if maybe a smaller ratio helps your tire wear at all. But really just sit back and wait and hope the final goes well.
You are one of the 40 most experienced NASCAR drivers on iRacing. You're probably one of the best people to ask about this. What differs in this old model of the truck, the 2011 Scam, compared to the modern truck that most people watching are probably more used to?
Yeah, well, the main thing, I can't confirm this, but I think it's on the older tire model of V6. And because I felt the track changing a good bit in practice, I was unable to hit my best times. Like, I was a 10th plus off towards the end of the session. And with the V6 tire model, dynamic tracks comes into play. With a newer tire model, it doesn't really work. So if that's the case, then this, if we get any long runs later in the final, you'll see all different sorts of grooves coming into play. So I'm really hoping that's the case and looking forward to it.
Well, Matt, we'll let you grab some lunch, maybe get some practice in on those long runs before the final tonight. We'll see you in a couple hours.
Thank you.
Matt Busa coming home in second, Arjuna. But we got one more driver to talk to. Camden Hibbett is with us.
Yeah, we'll grab a word with a driver that was able to grab a spot on the podium. And Camden, I mean, from our perspective, and from the perspective of Garrett Lowe as well, that was maybe a little bit more pack racing than he was expecting. Was that what you were expecting?
No, not at all. I was expecting really a train of cars kind of right in the bottom, especially up towards the front, just to top 5 or so. Just kind of lay back and hope, just ride and take the bid into the final. Super fun racing though. It was definitely more crazy than I expected. I definitely wasn't expecting to. I really wasn't expecting to be up in that lead battle at the end. I started on ovals and quarter midgets when I was younger, and recently I haven't done an oval iRacing race, I don't think, at all in 2023, maybe 1 or 2. So not a ton of experience recently on the ovals. It was fun to go back to my roots a little bit, and but yeah, awesome racing. Definitely a lot of pack racing. Almost felt like a version of the new Atlanta. With the new high banks of Atlanta, with part of the drafting, but you got to save some tires while you're at it.
I did note your oval experience. I was kind of curious how that kind of helped you. I'm also kind of curious, you are out there in the real world trying to, of course, make it on that road to Mazda, sort of a ladder. What does this opportunity mean for someone like you who's jumped in the sim racing world a couple of years ago to, I think, help your motorsports journey?
Yeah, I jumped into the sim just to help build on my racecraft and how to become a better race car driver. And with Racing Prodigy, it's turned into a real shot and a real path to get to my dream and my goal of becoming a pro race car driver. And it's definitely been an incredible opportunity. I can't thank David Cook, all of the Racing Prodigy team, for making this a possibility, just for allowing sim racers and drivers that have some real world experience, but not necessarily the funds or the backing to continue on past the Spec Miata, the Club Roots level. So it's an incredible opportunity for all of sim racing. I can't thank Racing Prodigy enough for giving all of us this opportunity to hope to make our dreams come true.
Congratulations on advancing to the final. We'll see you later today and see how you get on in a 30-minute sprint.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Camden Hibbett joins us as we get ready to go for the third and final semi-final action. Joey, we've already seen 16 advance. 8 more out of this final 20-minute dash will make their way on forward. And we've got some interesting names in here once again. The likes of Brandon Hawking will stand out as repeat entrants into the Prodigy Racing League. You look at the times, and it's once again super close inside the top 10.
Unfortunately, one name you will see not here, Steven Wilson, defending eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series champion, was supposed to be here tonight. Unfortunately, couldn't make it, so that's a shame for him. But I think he's clearly got some other commitments to make. Maybe we'll see him next year if we do this again at the PRL Chevy Silverado Cup. Julio Villalobos Jr. hasn't got a qualifying lap in yet. He's still out there on track, waiting for the dying moments, maybe waiting for the track to get a little bit cooler. And maybe this will be the run where he can put himself up in the top 8 and qualify.
It's his second and final attempt in this session to get a time on the board. Currently 18 drivers have been able to do so. Only Jacob Bale has not punched in a lap time, and it's a 31.093, so about a tenth and a bit off, 2 1/4 of a second off. Never trust the commentator's math. It's 12th, going to have to work forward a couple of rows to be able to advance to the finals. No one else is currently on a time that's actually going to see them bump on up, and so 90 seconds left on the clock. Left side of the screen, that's how they'll probably line up as well. 7/10 split the representative times back to 18th spot, but it was a lot more of a pack race in semi-final 2 than what we saw in semi-final 1.
And there's a lot more kind of unproven names in this semifinal. Obviously, we know Brandon Hawken. We know a lot of the drivers in the top 8. We know Garrett Vidden, who was very fast in the official racing in the Cup car. Ryan Avila, we know that name as well. But there's a lot of drivers who are kind of making their first steps into the top levels here.
If you're just joining us, you're wondering what we're racing for. Well, we're 22 days away from Prodigy Week. Winning the Prodigy Racing League iRacing Chevy Silverado Cup gets you a Prodigy Pass and all expense paid trip to the Atlanta Motorsports Park.
What should you expect at Prodigy Week? Well, as a Prodigy Pass recipient, lots of seat time. We're going to put you on a skid pad, autocross course, kart track, on a sim using SimLab, Grid, and Asetek Sim Sports equipment. But most of your seat time will be in the Radical SR1 race car on the main track at Atlanta Motorsports Park. Now, you'll have a pro coach review onboard video and data. You'll work with PitFit Training, who trains IndyCar and NASCAR drivers. You'll work with Dr. Nick Molinaro, who helps pro athletes perform under pressure. You'll be interviewed, but don't worry, you'll get media training by DKC, and we're going to live stream it all on Racing Prodigy's YouTube channel with behind-the-scenes look into how it all goes down. We're going to open it all up, share setup information, data, and more, because we're here to provide access and opportunity.
So here's how they'll line up for the third and final semi-final. John Hall and Brandon Hawking will be on the very front row. 8 thousandths separates the two of them. Noah Carter, Jaden Rayner will line up on row 2 with Brian Campbell, Garrett Vitton, 5th and 6th positions. Scrolling back to 7th, William Augustine and Bryce Deschert will share row 4. Ryan Avila and Nathan Goodrick make up the rest of your top 10. Caleb Bailey and Julius Villalobos will have some work to do from 11th and 12th positions, about 1/4 of a second off of the pace, while Alexander Brown, Trent Jocelyn, Edward Sanchez, Jared Schrock, Matt Washington, and Dylan Morante all have representative times on the board. Brandon Guillot and Jacob Bale will line up at the very back, hoping to work their way on forward. We've already seen it's possible. It just requires a little bit of aggressiveness from here and there. Take a look at the wall of webcams once again. Some of these drivers, including the empty chair, the blue chair, where Octavio Rondaletto sat. Some of these drivers, semi-final 1 and 2 drivers. However, the look of focus on the face, Joey, these drivers have been waiting. They're ready for the spotlight.
Ready for those final 8 spots. Still some drivers from the previous splits probably going out to getting the previous semifinals, probably going out to get their lunch, get prepared, get some extra practice in before the final comes up at 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time later today. For now, I am very excited for this final split. As I mentioned, some unproven names, some names we know from the eNASCAR College Series, and even more. They're all prepared to do battle for those final 8 spots.
And away we go. 20 more minutes thrown onto the board. Clock gets ready to tick on down. Already, we have seen that late semi-final cautions, to be more specific, are a threat.
They are a threat, but we are ready to go here. John Hall, he's one of those drivers who we know from the eNASCAR College iRacing Series, actually representing the Massachusetts Maritime Academy. He's He's on the naval pipeline, if we could say that much. He's a junior cadet over there, raced in the college series. He is ready to go here for one of those 8 spots, but don't count out Brandon Hawken to his outside. That's a name synonymous with experience on the ovals, on the road courses, on iRacing. And he is going to be ready to restart us on the outside, but it's in control of John Hall, the junior cadet. We're going to go green here in a matter of moments. Feel the tension rising. 8 more spots in the final. John Hall, that teal truck, he's going to be in control of the field. How important has that been to be at the head of the field? It's going to be important to get a huge jump. The iRacing sedan pace car pulls off a turn 4, pulls down pit lane, and it's going to be John Hall in control of the field to take the green flag for the final semi-final. 8 more spots on the line, and we're green for the final time this morning at Charlotte. No surprise, it's a great start by John Hall. They fire into turn 1 for the first time. Brandon Hawken, though, in the orange and white, going for a little bit of a switchback. Does he peek to the inside to turn 3 with the run? He doesn't. A driver with a ton of experience at the top level of NASCAR on iRacing, sliding back in line. See Jaden Reyna up on the top in turns 3 and 4. Around the outside of Noah Carter, he's up into P3, but that's going to be a clean first lap. Everybody makes it to the start-finish line for the first 1.5 miles.
Apparently my building's so excited about this third and final semi-final that it needs the fire alarm to go off, but it's all a clean start. Ryan Avila has jumped up in front of Bryce Deschert on that bubble line, and once again, the field not splintering up as much as it did in semi-final 1. It's staying compressed together. Vuitton looking down low for 5th position.
2 gray trucks for P6. See Ryan Avila, he's up 1 spot as Bryce Deschert has fallen a little bit from his starting position. His short run speed hasn't been that strong, but this is very good for drivers who are strong over the long run, Arjuna. We've strung the field out, all 19 drivers, basically single file right now. That bodes well. I don't want to jinx it for a little bit more green flag racing than we've seen in the previous 2 semifinals.
I think I'm hoping that as well. Avila down low on Augustine, and that's going to open the door for the 84 Deschert to close up as well. Bailey, Goodrick, Villalobos all in the line as well. Remember, we re-qualify for the finals. A little bit different from the most recent Prodigy Racing League tournaments, where your performance in the semi-final dictated where you started in the final. These drivers know that just finishing in the top 8 is enough, and there's separation going on to some drivers behind. They're fighting for 16th, they're fighting for 5th as well.
There's Brian Campbell up into P5. He's doing a great job of driving forward. Is he doing a little bit too much, though, is the question. Is he wearing the tires more than anybody else? Because he saw the previous 2 semifinals. He saw the amount of cautions, and he's thinking, I should probably take advantage of these green flag laps when I can. Is that gonna repay him at the end of the race, though, if he wears those tires too much? Right now he's looking good, but it only takes about 5 minutes for the fall off to begin.
And you're somewhat sensing that maybe we'll get a little bit more green flag running here. That means that the tire life at the end going to be very, very important. We take a look at Ryan Avila, who's blurred the background, so we can't try and pick away, and Detective Kankipati and Tebben can't understand what's going on, but crucially has already gained 2 positions and is working his way on forward.
I mean, it's just a matter of tradition here at Race Spot. You've got to have somebody with the glaucoma background in the background. Ryan Avila, he's doing his part here, but he's in a very dicey spot because you look ahead of him, Garrett Vidden. He's another one of our eNASCAR College iRacing Series competitors, repping the Devils. I could not tell you what college that is because I don't remember, but either way, he's doing them proud, and I'm sure somebody in the chat will tell me.
Yeah, that's the thing. Hopefully someone in the chat's a bit more educated than us. Doesn't help that you are from the U.S. But
Arizona State University.
There you go. I'm surprised that you didn't know that one, Joey.
No, I'm no ASUer, unfortunately.
Apparently, William Augustine hasn't quite got himself set up in his new space. He's got the paintings behind, but crucially, in front of Caleb Bailey, on the cut line right now, a driver that comes into this race, Joey, with a rookie license, has not done much oval racing here on iRacing.
Maybe he is. Maybe he's truly a racing prodigy. You know, you don't have to have all the experience in the world. If you're naturally fast, maybe you just don't know that you're good at something until you try. That could be what we're seeing with William Augustine here. Caleb Bailey right behind him, though. He's hoping that he can take advantage of some of those rookie sensibilities of William Augustine, and he's doing exactly that. Gets to the inside through the quad oval, and he might be able to take the final transfer spot.
Just going to be alongside, and now that 4's got to decide how aggressive it wants to be. Was willing to slide back in line earlier, but with already now 9 laps or so complete, 5 minutes in this race done, will the anchor be launched out there as Augustine tries to hold on to that 8th and final transfer spot. Behind as well, Deckert, Villalobos, Sanchez, Brown, they aren't too far behind, and Augustine's got to really send it on the higher banking and holds on to 8th spot.
Look at Bryce Deschert in that black Acetec sponsored truck. Remember, started in the top 8, has fallen early on, but that could be deliberate. That could be a driver who's saving, and that beautiful magenta helmet. I'm going to need your help again, Arjuna. Is that a bass or a guitar down there?
That's a guitar. That's a classic Fender Strat shape. Seems to be a little, well, it might even be a Fender amp alongside him. Guitars is where I can help you, Joey, be a bit of a detective. I can help there.
Yeah, I'm not musical. You learned that when I was doing virtual reality earlier. I got nothing.
Have you forgotten about your hit single on Spotify?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, where in the world is Kevin San Diego? I think I'm going to bring that one out in the future. But actually, that Twin Ring of Fire IndyCar themed song we did, that's actually not on Spotify anymore. So if any of you fans out there wanted to see it, the person who sung it, we've gotten rid of it on Spotify.
Oh, that's a shame. Now that you say it, I appreciate why as well. Oh, that's a shame. But anyway, we'll have to revive it moving forward. Top 8, again, just have to finish in these positions to advance to the 30-minute final, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, here live on RaceSpot TV, the iRacing Esports Network, and on Racing Prodigy's YouTube channel, where you will exclusively find coverage of Prodigy Week. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're following along as we step closer and closer to our journey through this E2Real pipeline. Atlanta Motorsports Park beckons 22 days from now. I will be delighted to meet Gustavo Ariel, Lawrence Bertens, Dino Filippa, David Dalton Jr., Marco Paich, Lorenz Herzing, Ciro Zambra, and the other worthy winners coming out of the next couple of weeks on our final steps to Prodigy Week 1.
Right now, things are looking good for John Hall to be able to join you, but I hope, or well, at least to make the final, to attempt to be able to join you. I hope he is able to join you, though, because as I said earlier, when your building was burning down, he's one of our other eNASCAR College iRacing Series competitors from the Massachusetts Maritime Academy. I assume he's on the track to make a career in the Navy. Hopefully, he can get out of some midterm exams or whatever to make it down to Atlanta if he makes it.
Yeah, I mean, I was. It's Arjuna Laguna Seca time again, Joey. You've been calling me out for all the stories I've been saying, but doing an event last weekend with Porsche at the WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, and we had a student that needed to get permission from his college to miss classes on Thursday and Friday to join us.
Garrett's going to have to call ASU as well. Edward Sanchez is going to have to call Baruch College. There's so many college students out here.
The funniest thing was, though, everyone left on Monday, flew out of Monterey on Monday. He had to leave on Sunday so that he could get back in time to not miss an additional day of class. Priorities, Garrett Lowe as well joined us from his dorm room earlier this summer in the Prodigy Selection Show, where we saw him make it in towards the top 3. Still pretty feisty, but really not swapping around where it needs to be. William Augustine in that bright blue, number 4. Still has a couple of car lengths to Caleb Bailey. Edward Sanchez and now Bryce Deckert have been dropping back a little bit.
On the topic of college students, a lot of these drivers are studying engineering because they see that as a way to get into the motorsports world as well. Maybe if it doesn't quite work out as a driver, you can always make it in on the engineering side. Personally, Arjuna, I'd say that any day you can have driving a race car at Atlanta Motorsports Park, that's better than any engineering class you could ever possibly take, and that's guaranteed. And I'm not just bitter because I dropped engineering after a year.
Well, the benefit as well of being at an engineering school is you might go and do Formula SAE or something like that, where you can build the engineering processes effectively. And we've seen many drivers not just looking to compete as drivers in real motorsports, but make their way upwards as engineers and technical members of staff. John Hall finding pressure, though, from Jaden Rayner. The two have broken away from Brandon Hawking, maybe not known as an oval specialist, but you best believe Brandon Hawking can wheel it in a left turn as as well. Noah Carter, Garrett Vitton, Brian Campbell, Ryan Avila, and William Augustine. All somewhat comfortable right now, Joey, as we get closer and closer to the halfway mark of what's been a green flag race so far, as I knock on the wood.
And Brandon Hawken does have some oval prowess in his own right. In the FTF Cup Series, he's been very successful. Jaden Reyna as well in second. Haven't said much about him. He's actually he races in the INX the Legends cars as well, just like Garrett Lowe does. So he's got a little bit of experience there. All of these drivers at the back of the field, though, no real-life experience whatsoever. Oval experience, yes, but Brian Campbell not really showing it right now because he's worn the tires out a little bit. He's falling back, and he's got Ryan Avila behind him, putting the pressure on. I mentioned Campbell may have been a little bit too quick earlier, a little bit too pushy on the tires, and at halfway in the race, he seems to be falling off a little bit.
And again, lessons being learned for the 30-minute final. Brian Campbell gives us a interesting angle.
Thigh cam.
Is that Brian Campbell? I can't. Oh, now I can tell. The arms stop blocking his face.
It's a very interesting angle. It's good to be down low, though. You know, we see too many drivers from the top angle. Maybe it's good to have a little bit of diversity. We get to see some good forearm movement at the very least. And now we see Ryan Avila, who even with the glaucoma background, we can see his strategy pretty clearly. He's just putting the pressure on Brian Campbell, and Campbell's all over the place. Avila's got to be feeling pretty good.
I think right now all of these drivers must be feeling quite good because look at that. Margins growing. It's splintering up basically behind Ryan Avila, Augustine, Bailey, Sanchez, and then Villa Lobos. It's Brown and Deckert that go side by side. Deckert's dropping a bit like a stone, at least for the time being, has lost 5 positions from the start of this race. And unfortunately is running out of time to be able to maybe take the tires and use them slightly better in the closing stages. 9 minutes left to go means, what, we are down to the final 18 laps.
Final 18 laps. There's quite a battle for the cut line. Caleb Bailey and William Augustine side by side. This is for the final spot, and don't count out Edward Sanchez behind either, a driver who is another member of the stable of Tabula Rasa Esports, Derek Watson of RaceSpot's team. He's been feeding us information about Edward's preparation, and Edward is in a solid position right now. Caleb Bailey's up into the top spot now, but Edward's there, third in line.
Augustine dropped down below the apron, almost bobbled down low off turn 2. Side by side in through turn 3. Villa Lobos trying to get to the inside of Edward Sanchez, costing each other time, sliding up the track in the 78 machine. You can fit 2 of these trucks door to door. They tried fitting 3 and 4 in the earlier semi-finals and found out that didn't work. All of this is great to watch, but now crucial time being lost to these 2. William Augustine throws a slide job. Caleb Bailey holds on.
I was going to say it was great for Augustine and Bailey for Villalobos and Sanchez to be running side by side, but now Augustine and Bailey have decided to run into each other and slow each other down again. Now it's a 4-way battle for that final spot in the top 8. Augustine's hanging on, but he clips the apron again. Bailey's going for a switchback, but Villalobos and Sanchez come together. You could see that coming, and we finally get a first caution of the semifinal, and we are going to get a couple of laps of a shootout after this.
And, well, I can tell you, a couple of the drivers not too happy, Edward Sanchez included. But now filter out behind the pace car, and we'll slow things down for the first time today in what we thought was looking like might be a potential caution-free semi-final. Oh, those were just dreams, but let's go back. Let's find out Edward Sanchez as well as Villalobos, exactly how that all played out.
You can see it happening halfway through the corner. These 2 were not giving each other all the respect in the world, and again, Villalobos a little bit high through turns 3 and 4, and then Edward Sanchez up on top in the 43, tries to come down, tries to clear himself, and he was very much not clear, and ends up turning Villalobos into the wall in an absolutely hellacious impact. I'm right on board with Edward Sanchez here, and you can see that he was close to being clear. He wasn't, though.
Yeah, just trying to tuck back down low. Maybe got the message from the spotter, got an indication that he thought he was clear, but unfortunately not the case. Now, pit stops. Surely, Joey, pit stops are going to be a thing because
I don't know. Because we're going to get about a 3 to 4 lap shootout, I think. That is a short enough run that it could be worth it if you were below the cut line. If you were somebody like Nathan Goodrick, Dylan Morante, somebody who wasn't going to make it. You could take the track position here if you want, but I don't think anybody's going to do it.
It's not worth the risk. That's the thing. Even with the 3 to 4 laps that we're going to run, tires are worth enough. We have fallen off quite significantly from low 31s at the very start of the run to high 32s. It's almost a 2-second delta, and that is why the field is down on pit lane. Both sets of tires going up. William Augustine misses the box and is still trying to slot his way on in. That's him dropping down through the field. But who wins the race off of pit road as Augustine still struggles? They're drifting their way on out. But Jaden Rayner, Brandon Hawking will beat John Hall to the pit exit.
I think there was 1 2-tire call. Dylan Morante has taken 2 tires. He's up into the top 8 now, but he's in danger with those 2 tires, and poor old William Augustine just leaving the box now. He took 2 tires as well, and then eventually realized I've already killed enough time backing into my box that I might as well take all 4. But that was heartbreaking. It was almost comedic seeing him back it up about 5 times, but it is heartbreaking.
It was. You can see the current order on the left side of the screen. You can also see he's not too thrilled. Maybe there's also a penalty here that's part of it. Now he's got to drop back to the end of the line. So maybe speeding on pit exit as well, just to add insult to injury. So, okay, coming around to see the start-finish line now. Everyone has taken tires. One driver with a 2-tire call who is just inside of the top 8. Dylan Morante in 7th. Keep an eye on that name. 4 or so minutes as we come across the line, which should mean we'll get the 1 to go next time by, right, Joey?
Theoretically. Theoretically. I think it's 2 to go this time. If they don't start going double file, they are going double file. Lights are out in the pace car. I think they shortened the caution, potentially. So we're going to get the green flag this time around with about 3 minutes to go. It's going to be a 6-lap shootout.
6-lap shootout. Wow. That's a lot more than the 1 lap that we had at the end of semi-final number 2. But what did we say earlier as well, and what was proven right? Cautions. Read cautions.
And that's what Dylan Morante is going to be hoping for, because he's going to struggle on those 2 tires. That's what everybody in the top 8 is hoping for. Everybody outside of the top 8 as well, the likes of Edward Sanchez, Bryce Deckert, they're hoping that we get a crash, we end under caution, and they can advance easily, because you're going to have to race pretty hard in a 6-lap shootout if you want to take any of those advancement spots, or hang on if you're in the top 8 right now.
I haven't taken a look at the race leader just yet on the webcam. Can tell Jaden Rayner's a fan of NASCAR. He's wheeled a Goodyear tire into his sim room.
It's going to be difficult to get into that closet, but it helps on the camera. It's good to see.
That's the closet where all the secret stuff is hidden. You don't need to see
That's where all of his other tires are.
Exactly, yes. All the non-NASCAR tires that he's hidden away from us. Oh, I'm tense once again. Joey, how are you feeling?
I'm ready for a restart here. It is going to be exactly 6 laps because we've ticked under 3 minutes.
Pace car off and away, hopefully for the final time. Jaden Rayner, John Hall, ready to see the green, and it's a long hold from the 19, finally underway, and he leaves Brandon Hawking and John Hall to squabble for second. 6 laps have said it all, and don't just be focused up towards the front. Dylan Morante on the 2-tire call, trying to work his way on forward.
It's going to be somewhat comfortable right now because there's a little bit of a split between Ryan Avila and Caleb Bailey from 8th to 9th. It's about 0.3 of a second. They're hitting the wall in the back straight. You see the highly damaged Edward Sanchez trying to send it 3 wide. Other than that, clean through the first lap of the restart here. And Dylan Morante's only lost 1 spot. He's feeling good right now. He's going to start feeling good, or start feeling worse right now, because Caleb Bailey's right there.
Yeah, this is the problem, because now so many more laps with which to fight. Whoa. And there's a big loose moment. Wiggle behind as well. The 199's trying to avoid, but Dylan Morante's 2-tire call almost ends in vain. Oh, I thought we were going to be safe, and the hands go up in frustration. Morante's not too thrilled either, but that means 8 drivers are confident in knowing they've done enough to advance to the finals.
They had it saved for about 30 seconds, and then eventually it all came undone as Alexander Brown, I think, was just an innocent bystander there, got absolutely destroyed. Let's take a look at what happened. It's Caleb Bailey and Dylan Morante. Caleb in the 72, Dylan in the 18. I don't think there was any contact there. I think Dylan just got a little bit loose coming down the banking. Then the 84 has nowhere to go. Alexander Brown has nowhere to go. They all had it saved, and then they got into each other again, and Alexander Brown takes a mouthful of safer barrier and blows the engine instantly.
Tell you what, Matt Washington got very, very lucky here, because just look on board with him. He has his own little moment that sends him up the track, and fortunately, going high gets him clear, and he avoids all that drama behind. And you're right, they had it saved, they had it avoided, and then the coming together eventually just made it a little bit worse. Live pictures show Matt Washington cycling through that 9th position on the track, will just missed out on a final spot.
Just missed out on it, but these are going to be 8 deserving drivers, especially the top 4. Those have easily been the top 4. Reyna, Hawken, Hall, and Vidden have been untouchable in this semifinal. Carter's been anonymous, but he's done a good job of staying clean in the top 5. Campbell as well has done a good job. Caleb Bailey's been the driver who's really made the passes. He's going to be very happy with his advancement position. Matt Washington, though, you can see the unhappiness on his face. He knows they're not going to restart. He knows he needs one more spot. At least he's got the, looks like a Laguna Seca poster behind him to keep him company.
He does. He got a Porsche poster as well. Man after my own heart. Man after Peter Mackay's heart as well. This is the dejection. What does the elation look like? Well, Caleb Bailey doesn't look that thrilled just yet.
Yeah, he's so elated. Look how happy he is.
I guess he just realizes there's still one more race left to come. And it's the more important one, where all the prizes are actually paid out.
He doesn't even have the lights on. He looks like he's ready to go back to bed and take a nap before the final.
Maybe that's his plan.
Maybe I should do that.
It's not a bad plan, is it? Although, didn't you say lunch? Isn't that your plan between semifinals and finals action?
That's always the difficult choice. Do you go for the lunch? Do you go for the nap? Do you go for both? I got to buy groceries today too. You might be on your own for the final, Arjuna. You never know what can happen.
Oh well, I hope not, because if that fire alarm gets too excited
lost
as
in the
well,
grocery store.
Yeah, exactly. The fire alarm might decide it wants to join the fun as well. Jaden Rayner's ready though, ready to cross the line, talking with someone as well in the room. One step closer to the Prodigy pass. He'll come across the line, the winner of the semi-final 3 in the Prodigy Racing League iRacing Chevrolet Silverado Cup. But ultimately, 8 drivers know 30 minutes still stands between them and a trip to the Atlanta Motorsports Park. Oh, we still get one more lap. Wonderful.
Why not? A little bit of a victory lap. Might as well.
Can we pretend that the race is over since I've called it?
Well, I've told you, Arjuna, we need the RaceSpot TV soundboard so we can just have stuff like this built up. So if you do... Because this is... If I had a nickel for every time a commentator called the finish of a race that ended under caution too early because this
system
this system makes no sense,
Joey,
we would have about 12.
They're 2x2. Lights are off.
No, they'll take the checkered flag here. We restarted with like 10 seconds to go. This is going to be a slight worry for the admins, though, because there's all sorts of funkiness when we have a restart like this. So hopefully that's all resolved. Just remember this top 8 right now, because the results might look a little bit weird.
So, yes, take a mental screenshot in your head for Jaden Rayner, Brandon Hawken, John Hall, Garrett Vitton, Noah Carter, Brian Campbell, Ryan Avila, and Caleb Bailey. No matter what the result at the end of this broadcast will say, because they will get jumbled up by virtue of the iRacing race control system, we will have those 8 drivers moving on forward. Pending any race control decisions, I wonder if race control might have something to say about what we have seen. Joey is 100% correct. He's done a few more of these timed oval races than I have. Pace car's off and away, but it's a lead the field to the checkered. Jaden Rayner on top in the 3rd and final semi-final in the Western region, and now leaves 8 drivers just one step away from that Prodigy week.
There it is.
I was just waiting for it as well.
Don't worry, John Hall did not win this race. The admins know what to do. We screenshotted the results. Jaden Rayner and Brandon Hawken, they'll be put back up into 1st and 2nd. It's just an unfortunate reality. Nobody knows why that happens, by the way, because there's no reason for it to happen. The leaders didn't pass the pace car. They restarted in the restart zone, but for some reason, it's just a funky thing with iRacing that we've had to deal with too many times. I hope it gets fixed in the future, but don't worry, they'll be back up in the top 8.
Yeah, I don't think the drivers have all got the memo, by the way, so we will try and have a chat with them in a few moments' time, and we'll give you a rundown of the results, but it won't be with the official results confirmation. Instead, it will be a provisional result. We'll give you the final result, hopefully come the finals later today. Remember, 5 hours or so between now and us going racing for that final. Yeah, Jaden Rayner's a little bit confused, I can promise you that, and That's not the face that he will be wanting to see. It's just another hurdle on the road to Prodigy Week.
He should be listening to the broadcast. We're telling him the truth. We're telling him the reality.
Always fun when stuff like this happens. Hopefully Jaden Rayner gets the memo in his ear because he's deserved to burn it down. Didn't have the most iRating up towards the front. Maybe not the most experienced in oval racing, but clearly had some speed and deserves the victory here today. Again, just a reminder of the results as they officially were. Jaden Rayner, Brandon Hawking, John Hall, Garrett Vitton, Noah Carter, Brian Campbell, Ryan Avila, and Caleb Bailey. Those are the 8 that will advance. Matt Washington, William Augustin, Edward Sanchez, Brandon Gio, Bryce Deckert, Trent Jocelyn, Jared Schrock, Nathan Goodrick, Alexander Brown, Dylan Morante, and Julio Villalobos. Those are the drivers that unfortunately we will say goodbye to. I feel a little bit bad for Jaden Rayner, so let's drag him in immediately and see if he's standing by with us so that we can talk about what's just happened. Well, unfortunately, he's just taken the headset off, so I don't think he's necessarily aware of the fact that
we would have just told him the good news. Come back, Jaden. We've got good news for you.
We're trying. We're trying our best. In the meantime, why don't we instead dial up another driver who might be a little bit confused and concerned right now. Let's see if a very experienced Brandon Hawking is standing by. Brandon, do we have a copy?
Hello, we have a copy.
Okay, I just want to inform you, you did make it to the final.
Okay, that's good.
I'm sure there was a lot of worry going on there. Jaden's a little bit concerned as well. Talk us through that one, though, because my goodness, we've seen you in many of these Prodigy Racing League tournaments, but our first Oval tournament, how did this differ?
Yeah, so the truck, I'm not too used to driving, so I just put in some laps there just to see what the tire wear was like, and this thing's actually pretty fun to drive. So we had a really good race there, and of course I'm a road guy, but I've been doing a lot of oval racing recently, and I think that's helped a lot. And I just had a really great race there in the top 3 or 4, and I was just kind of biding my time, trying to save my tires there over that green flag run, and then when that yellow came out, it was all bets are off. So we were all driving hard there on that last restart, and I got the run on whoever is in first, I'm so sorry. And then the yellow just came out to end the race there. So I was hoping we'd have one more shot at it, but and then when the pace car went off, I was like, okay, are we doing a kind of like a makeshift green white checker here? And then so the leader went, and then I went, and then the box didn't go away, and then it immediately gave me a black flag. It was like, oh man, I hope they still keep me in second here. So yeah, I'm happy to come second. It should line me up in a good spot for the final, and I'm looking forward to a really great race with all these guys. It's the first race was a lot of fun, and it's gonna, of course, with everybody together, it's gonna be even more fun, I think, in the final. So yeah, looking forward to that, and we'll see how it goes.
I can't wait for the final. I think it's going to be very exciting. But we've seen you not just here on our racing tournaments for the Prodigy Racing League. You've been on some of the other platforms as well. How important is it for you to get to be part of this E2Real journey, to get a chance at a seat at Prodigy Week? Because we've seen you in the semi-finals and the finals of so many of our tournaments.
Yeah, thank you. Being able to get an opportunity to do real world racing would be absolutely incredible. That would be like a dream come true. And I didn't get too much of a chance to get the race room one in, but I did get into R Factor, and I did that a couple of weeks ago. That was great, learning the sim and the car. And Atlanta Motorsports Park is such a great track. I love learning that, and just to have a chance to be able to do something as cool as this is really awesome. I just like to thank everybody at Prodigy Racing League, and like you guys, everybody that's a part of this, because in the chance that I'm able to go over there, race a Radical, that would be absolutely incredible. So and it's something I've wanted to do my whole life, just to get that foot in the door, So I just like to thank everybody, and I'll give my best shot here coming into the final here.
Congratulations. We'll see you later, Brandon. Take a brief break, 5 hours before that final.
Thank you. Yeah, I have another esports race coming up here in the second, so I'll be doing that, and then I'll be right back here for the final. So yeah, it should be fun.
I think I'm commentating on you in that race, Brandon. Run well, but that's Brandon Hawking second on track. We'll get confirmation of the results again in just a few moments' time. First, technically at the line in timing was John Hall. Third on the track, though, he's standing by with Joey Tebben.
Indeed, he is. John Hall, somewhat confusing finish with some of those iRacing bugs, but either way, we know you're making the final. We know you finished third on the track. How good does that feel to be going to the final a little bit later today and fighting for that Prodigy Pass?
Yeah, man, it feels great. That first run, I was worried I was burning off the tires a little too hard, and I guess I was because everybody was faster than me there at the end of the run, so that caution was kind of a savior. But yeah, I'm really stoked to be running for the Prodigy Pass here in a little bit, and yeah, the race was a lot of fun. I had for a second thought in my mind we were going to go green, but at the end of the day, I kind of figured a caution was coming, but yeah.
I'm very curious about the poster up on the top of your wall over there. Is that a Ford GT? I'm trying to differentiate it.
Yeah, it is. It's actually, it was like I had a painting class in high school, and everybody had their own project they got to do at the end of it, and I decided, okay, I'm just going to do a Ford GT. I was into sports car racing at that time, so I was like, all right, screw it.
Might as well. And we know in the eNASCAR College iRacing Series, you represent the Massachusetts Maritime Academy. I'm sure there's a lot of people at home who probably weren't aware that school existed before today. So tell them about what they're doing for you and what your life is like outside of sim racing there.
Yeah, so I actually just graduated in June from the Maritime Academy. I did the past year on the College iRacing Series, but I can't do it anymore, unfortunately. But yeah, the school is a great place to be for engineering students. We do 4 semesters on a ship in the wintertime. But yeah, the school's a great place to be.
Well, John Hall, we'll ship you out for the moment. Go get some lunch. Go get prepared for the final. We'll see you in a little over 5 hours.
All right, cool. Sounds good, guys. Thanks.
That's John Hall, third place. But Arjuna, it looks like we do have Jaden Reyna. He has finally been alerted that he is officially the winner, and he is going to the final. And you get to catch up with him.
We don't have him standing by just yet, so unfortunately Jaden Reyna is not ready to chat with us. And so instead, I think it's time for us to look forward. Joey, it's 5 hours between us finishing up this third semi-final and going racing for the Western Final. Another Prodigy Pass on the line, and of course all those goodies from Asetek, SimLab, and Grid Engineering.
And as it always is with this semi-final to final format, the intensity is only going to rise when the final comes around in a couple of hours' time. We've got the best of the best advancing from the semi-finals, and now all of the best meet each other to be the best of the best of the best of the best. Does that sound difficult? Yes, it does, but that's why the winner is going to be so deserving of that Prodigy Pass, of those second and third place prizes as well, but the Prodigy Pass is the big one. That's the one everyone wants.
Absolutely. One Prodigy Pass already handed out in the Eastern Finals. And of course, Joey, we started off the Western Semi-Finals by handing out a Prodigy Pass. Oh, what an interesting race that we had as well. And now we have whittled down the 72 fastest Western drivers to the 24 that will do battle in the finals. I'm going to put you on the spot right now. Who comes out on top in the Western Final?
Garrett Lowe. I'm going for the easy choice.
I don't think it's a bad choice. I think it's just one of those choices where you'll have to flip a coin. We'll be back again, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific for the Western Finals of the Prodigy Racing League iRacing Chevrolet Silverado Cup here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Just a reminder as well that you should already be following Racing Prodigy on all social medias, and if you're not already subscribed on the YouTube, well, this is your exclusive home of all things Prodigy Week. All the action going to be live streamed, so make sure you join us as we build 22 days from today to open up Prodigy Week at the Atlanta Motorsports Park. For now, though, it's time to say goodbye. For Joey Tebben alongside myself, Arjuna Kankipati, we'll see you later today for what is bound to be an exciting Western Final. For now, farewell from the Charlotte Motor Speedway, America's home for racing.